Keith, hello. What's up, dude? What do you want to talk about? Well, I can tell you what's on my mind right now, but I can't talk about that on stream. Dan, what's up, man? Zachary, I was on another tab and your voice just came out of the ether, but I couldn't find it. Yeah, you like look around your room. You're like, where's Luke? Ah, Luke found me. That's how great you are, Dan. Oh, what I was talking about in secret? Yeah, that's correct. How everything is going to be named Dan going forth. Slulia Sex. Hello. What's up, dude? Hey, no problem, dude. Happy to raid you guys. Flash Rolls sounds familiar. Yeah. Dan, I'm gonna name everything after you, man. You gotta pay for that, dude. We're gonna start charging Dan about $25 per name drop. Anytime we say the name Dan, we're just gonna, can we make a new tab in the spreadsheet to just count the number of times I say the Dan? And then we'll send him a bill at some point. Yeah, we'll bill you in $100 increments. No, that'll be you'll get bills every day. Make it $1,000 increments. Should be about weekly or something. Yeah, let's do $1,000 increments, and then yeah. OneNote's usefulness for DMing. Oh my gosh, OneNote is amazing. I mean, you could probably do the same thing with like Evernote or something. It's a little cheaper. The thing with Evernote is if you want it, my understanding is, last I checked into it, the reason I went with OneNote is I have Microsoft subscription, so I have it. Evernote, if you want it to sync across multiple devices, you have to pay for it. And I was like, that's why I want it, dude. So I just use OneNote because I have a Microsoft subscription. It's your payment for being a mod. Okay, Dan, that's probably a fair point. We do appreciate everything you do, Dan. We don't want you to feel unappreciated. Appreciated, Dan, which is why we like to say your name, Dan. Oh, thank you, dude. I'm glad you enjoyed those skits. I get a lot of people too that are like, your skits suck, dude. I wish you'd stop doing them. And I'm like, yeah. You could just skip ahead, dude. It's not that hard. I know you skip through everybody else's things when they're like plugging some product that you don't care about. So just scrub ahead. It's okay. Your finger will be okay. And everybody else will get to enjoy the skit. Wait, what is it? What was that one? Come on. Oh, use click traps because of me. Oh, cool. Yeah, the click. Yeah, the click rule. Yeah, I stole that from somebody online. I forget who. Or maybe I know who it was and I just don't want to give them credit because I don't like them. I don't know. I mean, there's probably stuff like that where like you liked a person and you kind of were like, you know, you're like, oh, this is cool. And then you have a negative interaction with them and then you're just like, this guy sucks. Actually, that happened to me once. There was this one guy who has a fairly big D&D blog actually. And I would read it. This is probably about 5 years ago. I would read his stuff all the time. I thought it was pretty good. I liked a lot of his ideas and stuff. And so I followed him on Twitter. And then I had an interaction with him on Twitter. And he just was like a complete jerk to me. And I was just like, okay, maybe you're not such a good guy. Maybe I shouldn't be like a fan of your work. Okay. That was a bridge he burned that. And now 5 years later, maybe he would have not wanted to burn that bridge. Arutha, what's up? Thank you for tier 1, dude. I appreciate that, man. We got a 9-month streak going on. Autumnal Knox, hello. Yeah, I have cats. They're on screen. Yeah, I got cats going on there. Oster, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? You're gonna be at 100K channel points. Hey Dan, it's a good thing we have a big, huge reward when you get to 100K channel points. Would somebody like to tell Dan what the reward is for 100K channel points? It's gonna shock and awe you. You're gonna be shocked. Number 8 will shock you. Pickle, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for hanging out with us at the last little Patron hangout. Sorry you had to work. My Pet Creeper, what's up? It's like when you admire a streamer and then they won't shut up about their politics on Twitter, so you can't watch them anymore. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. There is somebody that I had when I was first starting to do my YouTube channel and stuff. I had a lot of respect for, and watched their stuff and was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I got some good ideas and stuff going on, and he just won't shut his yammer about politics. And it's like, listen, dude, like, there is a 50% or greater chance that whatever your brand of politics is, like, somebody else is not going to agree with you. So why don't you just be a content creator and create stuff that people like and shut your mouth about politics, because you're alienating your audience. Like, I can't stand you anymore. Shut up about politics. Holy crap. Just give me the product that I came here for. Man, you're not changing the world. You're not, okay? You're just alienating people who otherwise would, like, enjoy your content. Yeah, so I totally feel that. He gets to have his name in creation once. Yes, that's the rule we have for Dan. That is totally the rule we have for Dan. Once per creation, something gets named after him. Dan and I had a conversation, a few months ago. He came to my office, and he was like, Luke, he was going to tender his 2 weeks resignation, from the layer. And I was like, Dan, what can we do to keep you? You're a valued member of the team. And he's like, well, if you put my name in one thing that we create, every creation stream, then I will stay here and I won't leave. And I was like, well, you know what, Dan, you're worth it. I want you on the team, so we're gonna do that. We shook hands and we've been plugging along ever since, and it's been great, right, Dan? Squeaky wants attention, of course. Ooh, make sure Purple Copperhead's question gets in the sheet, and I'll get to it. That looked fun. Is today a D&D chat or a full rant stream again? We will. Squeaky, stop it! He's biting me. We will do whatever wherever the tides take us. I'm just here to have fun. Pretty sure we're talking about the same guy. Ed, I 100% know we are. I guarantee that we are. I just don't want to hear about your politics. I don't agree with them. And I'm happy to, differences of opinion are great. I love differences of opinion, okay? And when I want to have an invigorating debate about something with somebody, that's great. But when I just simply come to your channel or your site or whatever for X resource, and instead I'm getting politics, like, that's not what I wanted at that moment. I didn't come here for an invigorating debate. Okay, I just didn't. I wanted whatever X content happened to be, whether it was a RPG thing or I don't know, whatever other content like I look for. It could have been like firearms related or something. Like, that's all I care about. I came here to learn, about X firearm. That's all I wanted to know. I didn't want to know your feelings about X, Y, and Z, dude. Just tell me about the gun, because that's what I wanted to know about. You know what I mean? So yeah. What did Pengu say? Oyster says, I'm never going to shout at you again. You are a good nugget. Oh, dear. Oh, I don't want Penguin shouting at me either. I would be terrified. How's my target practice going? It's going great. You want to see some of my pictures? I can show you some of my target pictures. We'll both put that in the spreadsheet. I'll show you some of my, every time, this is what I do. Every time I go to the range, I always take pictures of my targets, just so I can see what my groupings were and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff. So. All right, we should probably start this bad boy up. I need to get some coffee real quick. Whoa, what am I thinking? The biggest thing that I feel is lacking in my target practice is I don't have moving targets. Like, all I have are stationary targets, and I'm just like, that's great, but completely unrealistic. So yeah, that's the thing I'm lacking right now that I need. Squeaky, quit being a baby. He wants attention. He wants to jump up on my lap, and I'm like, no, Squeaky, you're not jumping on my lap, man. Okay, I need to push the button. I have so many cats bothering me right now. I have 2 cats just mommy wants attention. You can see her on camera there. Squeaky's bothering me. He wants attention. Oh, here comes the little guy. Ed, I thought we talked about this. I told you to come get little guy. I told you to come get him. And you, I don't know what you're doing over there. It's not that long of a drive. Come get this guy. Get him out of here. Because I'm tired of rubbing his belly. It's out of control. He's already lining up. He's going to start crying at me. I guarantee you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing a live stream tonight. This is I'm billing this as Q&A. So drop your questions, dungeon mastering questions, game master questions. You can ask me about YouTube, streaming. I don't care. I have a big mouth. I'll talk about almost anything. So yeah, just drop some questions. My moderators will grab them, throw them in their spreadsheet. It's good. I'll answer stuff. Please don't get upset at me if I can't get to your question. Bear in mind a couple things here. 1, I can't answer every question. There are too many. 2, some questions I don't know the answer to, and because I don't know everything, I just don't know how to address it. So instead of reading the question and then just telling you I don't know, I usually just go to a question I can answer. So just bear that in mind. Don't get upset at me. I'm just doing the best I can here. All right, so anyway, yeah, live stream Q&A. Hopefully I don't have a mental breakdown. And if I do, I'll just switch to the cat cam and you can watch my cats eat my flesh as I have a breakdown. I won't have a breakdown. Okay, we gotta do some sleazy plugs. We're all about the sleazy plugs around here. Yes, we are. What's our first? I literally have a sheet that lists off my sleazy plugs so I don't forget because it's such an important thing. All right, first thing we got to do is shout out all the amazing, awesome patrons that help keep the lights on around here. So I started publishing Layer Magazine in January, and folks love this thing and are just piling in. And they're helping support not only Layer Magazine, which they get every single month, but they're also helping to support all the other content I create. The live streams that we're in right now, my YouTube videos. I have completely free D&D resources, RPG resources on my website, thedmlayer.com. In some cases, I pay people to make those resources. So they're helping to, and I got to pay bills for that crap and different other things associated with it. So anyway, they're helping to support all the content that I create, much of which is free for the community. So very, very, very appreciative for my patrons. You guys are amazing. And these guys right here all get their names dropped on stream. So I'm gonna go through this. We're up to like well over 100, so there's no way I'm gonna get it in under a minute. So I'm just gonna go through it. Feel free to tab over to something else. Or you can stay here and listen to the list of awesome people here. All right, let's do this. 5e Magic Shop, and I can't pronounce half of these. Aerospatial, Alex H, Alex T, Amanda W, Anthony L, Arutha, what up? Beoban, Boris, Brad A, Brandon, Bran C, Brian S, Candy Sora, Chad B, Chase O, Chigarisu, Chris C, Chris H, Chris H, Chris J, Chris R, Chris Y. We have a Chris for almost every letter of the alphabet. This is beautiful. Cody B, Connor M, Contrary Gravy, Dalius G, David M, Dragon Damon, Dresna, Dylan S, Ed R, what up, dude? Edward L, Endorian72, Ericos, Fallon, Gary, the intern, Goliath Cleric, Heretic, Hydra Slayer, Illspawn, Izzy T, Jacob S, Jake L, James L, Josh and B, Joel L, John N, Jonathan S, we got 2 of them, Joral, Jose B, Joseph H, Josh G, Joshua G, Josue S, Kale S, Karen C, KK, nice, Ken S, Kevin F, Kevin P, Kezides, Kirby, Kyle M, Kiriako, Leopold X92, Lodwick B, Lord Kimiak, Lori S, Lost 2 RL, Maelstrom, Michael C, Michael H, Mr. T, Mumbles, Munlo V, Not a Bard, he's a bard, Owen D, Patrick A, Paul B, Paul R, Paul Y, Penguin Butt in the house, Pierre B, PRP, published author. That guy makes amazing maps. Oliver, if you're listening, you are amazing. I love your maps, dude. Rock on, dude. Rachel S, Ramsey M, Raslick, Rice W, Renner. Oliver makes like a bunch of the maps for Lair magazine. Super hardcore. Who else makes the awesome maps for the magazine? Oh jeez, Goliath Cleric, Spyro, you rock too, dude. Yeah. Have we had anybody else? Yeah, these guys are awesome. We got some slick looking maps going on. Penguin, but I did that. Where I lost my line. Renner C, Rob M, Robert W, Rock and Roll Joe, Ron H, Ryan G, Sakura, Scott C, Shane L, Simon, Smash Skull, Snapwragger, Son of a Sofa Man, Sophie M, Statson H, Stephen A, Stephen F, Tactical Tokens. We're gonna have some of those in the Kickstarter. You guys will be getting some beautiful Into the Fade tactical tokens in the future, ladies and gentlemen. The old DM, the Pickle in the house, the Casual Nerd, Theta Tag, Tiger Fifth 500, Tim Black, Tom, Tony M, Trevor P, Tristan W, Tyler N, Tyler R, Xavier H, and Zack. Woo! Yes, Oliver is a rock star. He is amazing. I just literally this morning I had a bunch of map commissions I needed to have done, and I was like, Penguin Bot, please go ask Oliver if he can help us. And it sounds like he was like, giddy up, let's go. So I was like, oh man, I love that. So it's so good. Almost 3 minutes. I wasn't even trying. We were just enjoying the journey, you know. Enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. You know, it's like a dog chasing a car. That's the fun part. If the dog ever catches the car, like, what's he gonna do with the car? You gonna chew on the tire? I'm like, what are you gonna do? No, it's the chase. It's the journey of life. That's the fun part. You want to enjoy that crap. It's not looking forward to retirement that may never come. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy life, because, dude, you know, retirement may never come. Or my cats might eat me while I sleep. All right. Okay, yeah, Lair magazine. By the way, if you guys folks don't know that I make this amazing RPG magazine every single month. Amazing, awesome adventures and maps and a whole bunch of cool stuff you guys can get. Become a patron. There's a link down below and stuff. It's very cool. There you go. That was a good sleazy plug. All right. Oh yeah, I'm also trying to raise a bunch of money for the Capital Area Humane Society. They help take care of cats and dogs and all that kind of stuff in my area. They have a spay and neuter clinic that allows people to get low cost spay and neuter. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you go to a veterinarian and you want to get your cat like spayed or neutered, it's like $200 to $300. It's really expensive. Capital Area Humane Society near where I live, their spay and neuter clinic, it's like $30. It makes it so affordable. Helps control the pet population and stuff like that, you know. So it's very cool. So all tips, by the way, anyway, what I'm getting at is all tips are going toward them. I'm trying to get $500 raised, and then I'll do a big donation to these guys to help support what they're doing. I already give every month. I personally give them money to begin with. Now I'm trying to raise some more money for him. So anyway, if you want to tip and help the little kitties and pets and stuff and doggies, there's links and crap all over the place. So there you go. All right, let's get on to the questions then, shall we? Smeekomancer, what's up? Happy to have you here, dude. Thanks. Welcome, dude. Wally, what's up, man? All right. Squeaky, you want to come up here? Okay, Squeaky wants to jump up here. Well, come on. You want to come up here? Squeaky wants to take over the stream. Come on, Squeaky. No, he doesn't want to come up here now. Sometimes he just jumps right up and he's like, "Argh." Not today. What coffee do I drink? I'm a sucker for like premium coffee. So I always get like these little bags of premium coffee. It's usually not like a Starbucks or anything like that. It's like it'll be like a Meyer is the name of a big chain grocery store where I live. So it'll be the Meyer brand, you know. I do. There is one type of Starbucks that I like. It's the what is that called? Oh gosh, cinnamon dulce. I love that one, so I get that one. But yeah, it's like kind of premiumish coffee, but it's not the super. It's not like $15 for a bag coffee. It's more like the $8 for a bag coffee. So it's like, you know, it's somewhere in between. It's not like big canister cheap, but it's not like $15 for a bag expensive either. I'm like, I like coffee, but not that much, you know. Mr. Gorks, thank you so much for the $10. I appreciate that. Kitties and little pets. I keep saying, I want to say doggies. Kitties and doggies in my area will benefit from that. Appreciate that, dude. It was a coffee question. That was an easy one. We need more questions like that. I have a question. I have an outstanding answer. That is my promise before I even read the question. I'm gonna fail. I set myself up for failure. In 2 weeks, my group and I are going to... He's biting me now. Start a podcast D&D show game. Send your video about Matt Mercer or something about it being a show. My question is, what do you say for a DM who's nervous but beyond hyped for it to start and see where it goes? Squeaky! He's biting me. He's coming back for more. Now he's gonna keep biting me. He's such a butthead. Look at him. He's like, I'm so adorable. I'm gonna bite you, and you're not gonna do anything. Sometimes he does this, not when I'm on stream, but if I'm just working or something and he bites me like that because he wants attention, it's like a little nipple. It's not actually a bite, but he'll be doing that. And then sometimes I'll just chase him around the house because he just run away from me. I'll chase him around the house and I'll grab a hold of him and then I'll give him some attention and pet him and stuff. And it's just hilarious how he'll bite at me because he wants attention, but then when I go to give him attention, he'll run away from me. I'm like, what are you crazy? What I would say to you, dude, is to just start. You're going to start a podcast D&D game. Well, the thing is, dude, if you set out to put on a show, then you put on a show. If you set out to just run a game and have people just listen to your game, well, that's your objective. It just depends on what your objective is. I'm not saying that one objective or the other objective is more noble or pure and admirable than the other. You know, if you set out to run a successful D&D show that will have thousands and all of that viewers and stuff, that is your objective. Then you need to make decisions that will help you achieve that objective. And usually that means putting on a performance, having cool voices and having fun stuff happen, having there be humor and preparing things really, really well so that everything goes really smoothly. If that's your goal, then you're going to make certain decisions that help you get closer to that goal of running a successful show. If your goal is to simply run a game that's a normal game that people might watch, then you're going to make different decisions that help you achieve that goal. So, there's those two things. My advice to you is just do it. You have to start. Everyone who is successful at anything is someone who started. That is a true statement. Now, not everyone who started is successful, so the converse is not true. But everyone who is successful at anything in life is someone who started. And if you never start, you will never be successful. Now, you might start and not be successful. But if you never start, you have zero chance at all. So if you're hyped and you're excited, do it. And enjoy the journey. Don't expect fast success. If it happens, great, but don't expect it to take off and everybody to be like, woo, and all excited. It's probably going to be a very slow, if your goal is to grow and have people listening and stuff, just expect it to be a slow thing. You have to enjoy the journey, and take pleasure in that. And yeah, so yeah, that's my advice to you. Just start, enjoy the journey, take pleasure in it, evaluate yourself at a year in. How are we doing? Are we achieving our objectives? How do I feel about this after a year of doing this? It could take you 3 years to get any momentum. Be prepared for that. It really depends. After a year, are we still having fun? Are we enjoying it? We want to keep doing it. Okay, let's go. How are things going? you know, and you evaluate it every so often. Are we still achieving our objective? You know, our goals? Are we still having fun? Are we still enjoying it? Is it feeling like work? Once it starts feeling like work, most people go to their jobs and do work to make money. So if once it starts feeling like work and you're no longer enjoying it, if you don't have a revenue stream from it, you probably got to consider, what are my motivations in doing this, and do I want to continue doing this or not? So, but that's probably something down the road you think about that stuff, you know. But there's probably a point in time, especially if you stop enjoying it, that you might want to think about, no longer having fun, not making any money from this. I don't know if that's one of your goals, but not having fun anymore, not making money. This feels like work. What's the future here? You know, maybe you never get there. Maybe you do make money. Maybe you are super successful. Maybe it does catch on. Maybe you remain. Maybe it doesn't grow at all, but you're still having fun and you're enjoying it. Well, there you go. That could be your objective. There's nothing wrong with that either. So there's a bunch of information. One of my players decided to have a little occult item as a background thing. Supposedly useless. Ooh, I think I know where this is going. Some divination tool stuff. Ooh. But he keeps using it and it becomes slightly metagaming at this point. I already ruled it some roles, but basically, how do you give a fair mechanic to what starts as a mundane object? Okay, so my basic rule is this. For the most part, what is included in your backstory cannot grant you in-game mechanical benefits. Okay, you can't be like, well, you know, in my backstory, I'm a powerful wizard, therefore I'm actually a level 15 wizard and I have all their spells. No, your backstory does not grant you in-game benefits. What your backstory should do, once you have your character, your backstory should accurately represent the mechanical stuff that's present in your character sheet. So if they had a mundane, not including a mundane item is not a big deal. But if they had a mundane item and then they start to attribute power to it, that would be a conversation with me and the player. And I don't know, I might be, if there's some really good, interesting stuff and they put some work into the story behind it and stuff, and its impact on the game were very negligible. I'm talking like a common magic item or even less negligible. Like it's just a small little thing that's barely influential at all. and there's some story and they put some work into it and stuff, I would be inclined to work with them and maybe figure something out. But once they start to get in their head that they're going to turn this into an uncommon magic item and start getting some real tangible benefits from it, from something that was a mundane item in their backstory that they never earned in game through gameplay, but just kind of wrote in, that's where I'm probably going to be like, whoa, this isn't going to work for me. This isn't going to work for me, and here's why. You know, if you have magical items and stuff like that, those need to be earned through gameplay. We can't write in power, you know, and abilities and mechanical benefits into our backstories. That's not the purpose of a backstory, you know. Now, some players will do this from a place of innocence and just wanting to create a cool story. Other players are going to not do this from a place of innocence. They're going to intentionally be trying to game the system, and they want to have a powerful character. They're power gamers, let us say. And so in order to try to get there without having to put in the gameplay time, they might try to like write things into their backstory that they constantly refer to and be like, well, you know, I'm not proficient in history according to my character sheet, but in my backstory, it says that I studied under a sage who was a historian and he taught me tons of things. Therefore, since my backstory says that, I should get, you know, sometimes people start to reach, you know, for things, and it's just like, your backstory should reflect what your character sheet says. You know, it shouldn't be adding to your character sheet. This doesn't go that way. So yeah, there you go. Correct. Agreed, Ed. It's always okay for a dungeon master to allow it, but you're not required to at all. You have the prerogative. It is your right as a dungeon master to say no if they're trying to gain power from a backstory. I will say though that If you allow one player to gain mechanical benefits from a backstory item, you should be prepared to extend the same courtesy to your other players for the sake of fairness. That is a very important point. Otherwise, then you're going to be like, well, why can they do that and I can't do that? And you're going to have to deal with that. And you probably don't want to deal with that. Still Stellar, what's up? How you doing? Into the session where I made my players cry twice because of emotions. Oh, nice. Just because of the heavy stuff that was going on? That's cool. You're welcome, Pickle. No problem. Heist the Betrayer, what's up? How you doing? Xanth, thank you for the tier 1, dude. I appreciate that. And Kirby, oh wow, I missed that. Kirby, thank you so much for the $50 tip. I totally missed that. Kirby, thank you, appreciate that. We're now up to $115 for the Capital Area Humane Society. We're trying to help some little kittens and puppies, and actually they probably have a lot of older dogs and cats too that they take care of, and then try to place with homes and get adoptions and stuff. So really appreciate that, Kirby. You are the man. I'm looking forward to the giving them that $500 donation. I think I'm gonna, when I send it to them, I'm just gonna be like, you know, they'll be like, who's it from type of thing. I'm just gonna put the DM layer community or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure out how to do that. So anyway. What are the key changes I need to be prepared to make when I run Curse of Strahd based on your experience running the module? I think that really depends on you as a dungeon master and your style of running the game. I've made some significant changes to many parts of it. Other parts I've left alone. I feel like part of the reason that I'm making a lot of changes to it is it's interesting to me. It's more fun to me I love using cool new monsters and stuff. And so when I go to the windmill, the Bone Crusher windmill, and they're like, it's like 3 night hags there. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. 3 night hags in a windmill? Oh gosh, can you give me a break? So I'm like, so I go to the Tome of Beasts and I'm like, all right, let's see what we got in here. And I find some really cool new monsters and hags to use. And that gets me excited. And so I change things in part because it stokes my like enthusiasm as a dungeon master and makes the game more fun to me to change things. You probably don't need to change a whole lot if you don't want to. If you're running it as a sandbox, the other thing you're probably gonna have to consider changing is, well, you could just run it as is as a sandbox, and if they run into a low level area or a high level area, you just play it as is. It might be easier, it might be impossible. What I tend to do, so my Curse of Strahd players should ignore me right now. Turn this off. What I tend to do is I run it as a sandbox. They can go kind of anywhere they want. They have like a multitude of plot hooks right now, and they're like, oh, okay, let's just add that to the list. Where are we gonna go next? We have all these different things. If they are going to an area that is too low level for them, like maybe they're level 6 and they're gonna go somewhere that's like a level 2, and I know that it's just gonna be ridiculously an easy stomp and no challenge, I'm gonna spice it up a little bit. I'm gonna make it a little bit more challenging. Now the converse is not true though. If they go to a place that's really high level and they're not ready for it, I'm probably not gonna change it. I'm gonna leave it the same. Let them get their butts handed to them, retreat. They're probably not gonna die. It's really hard. You know, they gotta be really make a bad decision to TPK. They'll probably get their butts handed a little bit, start retreating, and then be like, huh, this place is hard. We should go somewhere else. I'm happy to do that. I think that's fun. And it just shows yeah, it'll be cool. So those are some thoughts and ideas on things you might consider changing, but those are kind of very generic, high level. You know, I definitely will tell you that I changed some of the powerful artifacts at the end. Some of the artifacts that they get are extremely powerful, and will make the battle against Strahd a cakewalk. They're just so powerful. I will be beefing up Strahd himself. Strahd his stat block is pathetic. It's pathetic. So I'm gonna have to, and it's not just adding hit points and DPS. That's the you know, that's the DM, the first year dungeon master's way of beefing up a monster. I'm I'll need to make it more interesting and more challenging. But Strahd does not impress me. My group right now, don't nobody tell them this. They could probably kill Strahd right now at level like 5 or 6 if they went to him. He's just kind of unimpressive. He doesn't have enough action economy, I don't think. I don't know. I think Maradon would chop him apart in 2 rounds and he'd be over. I would definitely be like, after the first round, Strahd would turn into mist and escape. And then he would wait about 1 minute to regenerate all of his hit points. And then he would come back and fight them, take a little bit of damage, go away, wait 1 minute, regenerate all of his hit points, come back, fight them again. Dude, seriously, that sort of hit and run strategy, when you can regenerate 20 hit points a round, it behooves you to come in, attack on them, beat them down a little bit, mist away for 1 minute, not even that, 30 seconds, get all of your hit points back, come back in, hit them again, and then go right away again. Come back in, hit them again, go right away again. Terrorize them and chase them throughout that entire castle. And the players are like, oh, we're dead. He's healing up every time he retreats. Holy crap. So I will definitely be doing that. But that's not fair, Luke. Yeah, it's Strahd. You're in his world now. We got a spammer notification there. Pakan, thank you for the Prime. You have a 12-month streak. Dude, very nice. How do you know if an encounter is way too difficult for the group to handle, since after level 8, adjusted XP doesn't matter a whole lot? It's kind of a gut check. But you never really know. You never really know if it's going to be too hard. I always, when I create encounters, I'll keep an eye on the challenge. I'll punch the numbers like you should, and I'll keep an eye on it. But I know my group, I know my players, I know what they can do, and so, for instance, my Curse of Strahd players are amazing, very, very hardy bunch, very, very intelligent. They know what they're doing, so I'm not afraid to throw really deadly stuff at them. I know they can handle it. I have another group right now that probably, they have handled challenging things before. Sometimes they do it less well than others or something. So I would probably be a little bit more hesitant to throw something more challenging at them. So part of it is just knowing your players and what they can do and what their characters can do. Not all characters are created equally. Some are way more powerful than others. So, and players, different players play their characters differently and better than others. It's not really better. It's just mechanically more powerful, I think is the proper way to say that. So that's really all it is. I don't really have any good, besides that, that's all I can really say. I'm too nice to my players? No, I'm not. I'm not too nice to my players. Hello, Luke. My players don't like dungeons. Perhaps Dungeons and Dragons. They spend a lot of time in dungeons, I'm assuming. And in their thoughts, this is not interesting, even if I put a lot of stuff inside. I can live without dungeons. I'm not a very big fan of it too. But do you have any advice how to run adventures without dungeons? Okay, so if your players don't like dungeons and you don't like dungeons, then yeah, it definitely sounds like you guys could play without them and you'd probably all be happier. Do you have advice on how to run adventures with Squeaky, jeez, without dungeons? I think every time when PCs get enough information, they will have one deadly encounter with boss. It's kind of boring in longer period of time. Well, I mean, what's the alternative? If you don't have dungeons, what do you have? So it depends on how you define a dungeon. Like, do you mean dungeon is a really big map with like 10 to 20 rooms that you got to clear out every single room and go through everything? That's one way of running a dungeon or calling it a dungeon. What about a cave system where there's literally just 3 rooms? You go in, there's a guardian in the first room, and then the next room has a little exploration piece, and the last room has somebody to fight, the boss, so to speak. That's another way to do a dungeon, except that it's much shorter. what I have found is that some of my players do not like really long dungeons, but they like the shorter ones. So that's something also to consider. What kind of dungeons have you been running for them? If they're super, super long, maybe that's the problem. Maybe if you have a shorter one that just has like 3 rooms or something, maybe that'll be more palatable for them and that will feel more fun. So that's something to consider as well. But if you're not, when we say dungeon, by the way, we're not literally talking about like the wet, moldy dungeon underneath the sewers or something. A dungeon simply means, in my opinion, a location-based adventure, which means that there is a physical place where much of the adventure takes place. A building of some sort, a castle, a tavern, it could be the sewers, it might be a cave system. There's a location in which much of the adventure take place. So when we say dungeon adventures, I really mean location-based adventures. And location-based adventures are comprise probably 95% of published material out there, for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of people like them, but 2, they're much easier to write than event-based adventures. And they're much easier for dungeon masters to run at their games than event-based adventures. Event-based adventures are more challenging to write, more challenging to run a lot of times. So that's why a lot of things are just location-based adventures. So if you're talking about getting away from location-based adventures entirely and getting rid of dungeons entirely, then what you're talking about are event-based adventures, where the location is not really important. The dungeon isn't really important. What is important is the villain and what types of things they're doing and how they react to the player's actions and stuff. And it gets a little bit more complex and stuff. So I have an entire video on my YouTube channel about event-based adventures. So you can go take a look at that. That'll give you some ideas of how you might go about doing that. The first thing I would see if it's just that they're too big and maybe you can run smaller ones. If that's not the case and you just want to get away from dungeons altogether, then you're going to look at event-based adventures, or you're going to start looking at running things outdoors, where they just have like one encounter and then another encounter over here. But once you get out of doors and there are no walls and ceilings and stuff, the game is a lot different. There's a lot of different things, different elements that are going on. So maybe if they just want to run outdoors, you could do that. So, but you're going to have trouble with things like the adventuring day mechanic and different things are going to cause you trouble once you get out of an event. Once you get out of the location-based adventure mindset. So, unfortunately, I don't have like super easy, actionable advice for you on that. But I did refer you to a video that might be helpful. So hopefully that's kind of helpful. What is a weighing rod? Jerk. Just somebody who's a jerk. Is it a regional epithet or something you came up with? Oh, I heard it somewhere. Would you recommend Curse of Strahd for a new player? I would not. Curse of Strahd's a module that a game master would use. I would not recommend Curse of Strahd for a new game master. That is not the module to break your teeth on. No, it is not. Now, if you had an experienced game master with new players, that could work, maybe. But here's the thing. What I have found, my experience with playing with new players who've never played D&D before, is they don't understand some of the social conventions that we have. They don't understand what a plot hook is, and that when the game master delivers a plot hook, it's something that you can go do in the world. They don't usually get that. New players are a lot of times mesmerized by this idea of a world in which you can do anything. Thus, they hear a plot hook and they're just like, oh, that sounds nice, but I can go climb trees and jump off from trees into the lake. I'm going to do that. True story, I had a player, she was fascinated with just climbing trees with her character and then jumping out of them. So I had new players that just, like, I'm delivering plot hooks and they're all just like, they want to go do lots of different stuff. And then my veteran, I had like 3 new players and like 2 veteran players, and the veteran players understood social contracts, conventions and stuff, and were gently guiding the new players. Hey, you know what? We should go check this out. Let's go check this out. So one of the things you run into with new players is, you know, they're gonna tend to be a little bit more like go everywhere and do everything, and they don't quite understand the social conventions of the game quite yet. So in a module like Curse of Strahd, you're gonna have Curse of Strahd is not necessarily designed to be linear. It can be run linearly. It also can easily be run as a sandbox. So with Curse of Strahd, you're going to have a little bit more trouble probably with actually running the module. There's new players might steer away from actually letting you run the module, and you might find yourself running an entirely different game as they pursue side interests, let's call it. So I don't know that I would. You could run into problems with that. It could also work. So I'm kind of on the fence there with that one. Squeaky, get it. My game group has been kicking around the idea of one campaign with people taking turns as a DM. I'm already shaking my head. And swapping out the characters when someone's turn comes up. Do you think this could work? Nope. It ruins all mystery, suspense, and fun from it. Look, the game master is going to be preparing the adventure. The game master needs to know what happens in the adventure, who the NPCs are, what their motivations are, needs to have an understanding of what's happening in the larger campaign so they can work things together. They need to have a large swath of information in order to understand how to run that game. So if you get in a situation where the proposal is 5 players and we all take turns dungeon mastering during the same campaign, during the same game session, the only way to really make that work during the campaign is basically for all of the players to also have all of that information about how that adventure is run, how the campaign is run. They would have all of that background knowledge about the adventure and all of the NPCs and all those workings. They would need to in order to be a good game master for the game. And if they know all of that, that takes away all of the fun and mystery from the game. Like as a player, when you already know everything that's going to happen, okay, there's still an element of fun, you could argue, but it takes away a whole bunch of it when you know everything. It just does. It's no longer, there's probably loses a lot of its appeal of being a player. Part of the fun of being a dungeon master is that you get to see what the players do when you present them with situations, and you're like, oh man, I didn't think they were going to do that. Oh, let's see what happens. And that's fun for the dungeon master. You know, part of what's fun for being a player is you don't know what's going on. You don't know all this information, and you're just feeling your way around, and you might screw up and bite it, or you might make the right decision. And we don't know how this combat's going to turn out. We don't know what this monster can do. That tension and that mystery and not knowing is part of the excitement of being a player. So I don't know that rotating between turns, especially, or even in the same encounter, the same adventure, would be fabulously successful. Maybe for the very perfect right group of players, but I don't know that would work. Massive Effect, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? You adore my content? Are you saying you adore my content? Well, thank you. Ambers, hello. What's up? How you doing? Ambers, you're gonna be at LayerCon, right? I'm pretty sure I saw you saying somewhere you'd be at LayerCon. Yeah, we have a convention. We're gonna be doing a convention. There's gonna be an announcement for LayerCon on this Saturday's video, where folks can it'll give you more. Actually, you know what? If you want information on LayerCon, I made a post on my Discord channel. There's an entire channel devoted to LayerCon. You can get information. You can get tickets and crap already. So anyway, yeah. All right, cool. Ambers is coming. Sweet. Oh, sweet. Massive Effect. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know, I try to give okay advice sometimes, but sometimes people in the comments, they tend to think I suck too. That's why I have the thing at the end, you know, leave a comment for the algorithm so YouTube knows I don't suck. Do our questions get queued, or is it just whatever you see? No, all of your questions get pulled into a spreadsheet, and then I grab them from there. So yeah, you don't need to worry about me actually looking at you to see it. Oh, Massive Effect rated us too. I didn't even notice that. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Mr. Crinkle, thank you for the 300 bits, man. I appreciate that, dude. I have more monster manuals I'll have to show you. Oh, nice. I love monsters. Would you recommend Descent into Avernus? And is there any big things in the book that you recommend changing? Okay, I've played a little bit of Descent into Avernus as a player. I have not read the book, even though it's sitting on my shelf, and I haven't ran it obviously as a dungeon master. So I really can't tell you a whole lot about it. I can tell you that as a player, I enjoyed the part that I played and thought it was cool. But we all know that there's always a balance between how much the game master uses from the book and how much they make up on their own. I don't know to what extent he was just using material straight from the book and what stuff he was making up. It's possible that the module wasn't that great and he was doing a lot of work to make it better so that it would be palatable for us. I don't know. I think he was mostly running it from the book based upon some of his comments in the game and stuff. So I think he was mostly running it faithfully, more or less from the book. And it seemed pretty cool, but that's really all I can tell you. When you say publication, do you mean we get a physical copy of your magazine, or is it? It's digital. No, it's digital. It's digital. Yeah, we're planning a Kickstarter for this January where we're gonna print the books. We're gonna print out Lair magazine in book form. It's actually, you guys, it's actually gonna turn out. I've been making preparations for this. It's actually gonna turn out to be 2 books. We're gonna have, because there's so much content in Lair magazine, if I were to put everything from Lair magazine from 1 year, it'll be everything from 1 year, this first year, into book format. If I were to put everything from 1 year's worth of Lair magazine into a book, it would be a 500-page book. I actually calculated things out and punched the numbers. It'd be a 500-page book, which is unwieldy. That's like way unwieldy. You can't do that. So I'm splitting it into 2. There's going to be 2 books. There will be the adventures and monsters together in 1 book. That one is going to be about 300 pages. So it's an adventure anthology. It'll have like 24 adventures in it with a whole bunch of new monsters, crap tons of monsters. That'll be 300 pages long. It's going to be big. The second book will be about 200 pages long, and it'll include everything else: the traps, the puzzles, the NPCs, encounters we created, and stuff like that. So yeah, we are planning on doing a physical product as a Kickstarter. So that's the way that works. So you guys can look forward to that. Yay. Oh, there we go. 𝐑𝐄𝐒, thank you so much for the $100 tip. Look at this. I'm probably saying your name wrong, and I apologize. 𝐑𝐄𝐒, $100. Thank you so much. $100 right there into that bar. And once we get to 500, we're doing a big donation to the Capital Area Humane Society to help them take care of little kitties and puppies and stuff like that. So very, very appreciative. That is super, super cool, man. Very awesome. Sable Aradia, thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. What's up? Welcome to the lair. We're just talking about D&D and stuff. I get excited. I'm very dramatic. I over dramatize everything. All about the drama. I love that. I love some juicy drama. Remember the Frostbane's 320 pages? Wow, that's nice. Yeah, big, thick, chunky boy. Yeah, those are good. Prepare to be boarded. Oh no, I'm being boarded. Ah! It's like if I'm like, you're the pirates and you're boarding my ship. Well, I'm fighting to the death. I'm not giving you any of my rum. How do you build encounters where defeating the enemies isn't the main goal? You create a different goal. Did I just give a cop-out answer? That's what you do. You give a different goal. Any resource on this kind of special win conditions? You make it clear to your characters what the special win condition is. Finish that ritual, disturb that ritual, protect that object from being stolen or broken. Exactly, that's exactly what you do. So you have a plot hook. Every good adventure starts with a plot hook. And in the plot hook, there are 2 primary important things that you deliver in a plot hook to your players. The first part of the plot hook is to describe what their objective is. What is it they're supposed to do? And that's what drives at your question right there. The second part of it, just in case you're curious, is what's in it for them? Why should they go do this thing? Is it financial rewards? Is it favors? Are they going to get a plot of land? Is it just to do the right thing to help out the people so they're not in their suffering? You know, there needs to be something where what's in it for them. And generally you want to have a couple what's in it for them things, because not everybody's motivated by the same thing. Not all characters are. So, but the first part of a good plot hook is simply, you know, explaining what the objective is, what the goal is. So if you want to create an adventure whose objective is not to just go kill everything, then you need to have that in your plot hook. For instance, we published an adventure in Lair magazine where somebody had a farm and they had dinosaurs on the farm and they had like dragons on the farm and stuff like that. And bandits came, they broke into their farm and they stole one of their dragons. They had a little baby dragon. And so the objective that was delivered in the plot hook was, please go get my dragon back. That's the objective. So when you get to the bandits' cave, you don't need to kill them all. You could, but you could also sneak in and steal the dragon back if you could. There's a couple different ways to get into the cave compound. There's a river that goes almost directly to where the dragon is, and then there might be some complications going through that river. But you know, so that's how you do it. You just deliver a different objective. You tell them what the objective is, and then your players. Here's the thing: you can't control how your players. You shouldn't control how your players go about accomplishing that objective. If they decide to go kill all the bandits and get the dragon, that's their prerogative. They get to choose how they approach that adventure in that situation. If they choose to sneak in and get the dragon, that's their prerogative. They don't have to kill everything. So that's my advice on that. It's not super complicated. You just have to be clear and present it in your plot hook to your players. I'm making my first D&D campaign for my high school class of mostly totally new players. I'm wondering if I plan a campaign maybe too advanced for new players. I'm planning a big dungeon to kick off the adventure off, which may involve some more creative solution sneaking. It will also involve a faction system in one of the cities. Is it too much for new players, or should I go with something more straightforward in the start and go with more advanced later? I think you're okay to do it either way you want. It's very possible. Well, here's the thing. You mentioned I'm planning a big dungeon to kick the adventure off, which may involve some more creative solutions and sneaking. So that almost feels like you're forcing a solution on your players. You're kind of determining in advance how they would overcome the dungeon. I would avoid doing that. I would design the dungeon and leave things open so that they can approach the solution however they want. If they want to be creative, if they want to sneak, if they want to go in and brute force it and just kill everything, I would leave things open for them. So that way you're not, as a game master, trying to force them to play the game the way you designed the game, because that is not a good approach usually. So you design your dungeon how you want. You don't need to think about what the solutions could be. It's not your job to design solutions. It's your job to design the situation and the adventure, which are the same thing really. Your players design the solutions. They brainstorm the solutions and figure it out. I would say be prepared, as we're talking high school and new players, be prepared for your players, especially if they're guys, who just want to kill crap. So be prepared for that. I run a group right now they're my youngling group. They're not in high school. Are they in high school? Yeah, they're in high school now, actually. They weren't in high school when we started. And I will tell you, the two guys, they wanted to kill everything. And the two girls, they wanted to talk to everything. I don't know if it always like stratifies like that. This is just my limited experience. But it could very well turn out that way. If you got a bunch of guys, they might just want to kill everything. Who knows? So be prepared for anything and allow your players the opportunity to choose how they approach the solution for the adventure, is my advice to you. I had one battle. This is the battle where they TPK'd actually. My youngling group TPK'd. I have a video out on my YouTube channel. They literally TPK'd in part because once they all tried to talk to the bad guy and resolve things diplomatically, and it didn't work. And at that point, the bad guy started attacking them. And the two guys were like, oh, things are going down. Let's go. They started attacking. The two girls, they still wanted to keep on talking, and they weren't participating in the combat. They were basically trying to still talk to the bad guy. and it was clear it wasn't working. And so because of the lack of teamwork there, yeah, they TPK'd. It was it's their first TPK. Well, they're only TPK. They haven't TPK'd since then. One of the players is reckless and gets killed all the time, though. How would you deal with the player that always wants to play a murder hobo? Have there be consequences to being a murder hobo? There's consequences in the game world. And do they even fit in with the group? Like, if they're going around killing people and the police are constantly after the party, and the police are hiring mercenaries to hunt them down and bring them to justice, and the group always has some problem in the game world because somebody is breaking the rules, then the group might start to be like, listen, we don't want to play with your characters. Your characters always bring trouble upon us. Create a different type of character. Maybe the players start putting pressure on them. But as a game master, my first action I would take is just enforce realism. If you're going around just killing anybody and everybody, sometimes there are going to be consequences to that, and be prepared to deal with that. The second thing, though, is if I sense that the way they are creating their characters is causing other players to not have fun at the game table because of what they're doing, because there are lots of things that players can choose to do with their characters that will cause other players to not have fun at the game. If we notice that that's starting to happen, that's where you have a conversation and you're like, yo, dude, I don't want to take away your agency. I don't want to force you to play a certain way. That's not my goal here. But right now, the way you've been playing your characters, like, you're causing other people to not have fun during the game. And that is when it becomes a problem for me. And so then you try to talk about, suggest and have a conversation, and hopefully you can arrive at an agreement where you can identify, these are the things that you routinely do that cause us to not have fun. So we would like you to avoid doing those things, please, for the sake of the game and the enjoyment of everybody here, because this is a collaborative group effort. And if not everybody is collaborating and participating towards the overall fun and enjoyment, then some people are not going to enjoy the game. And that is a problem. So that's a conversation to have with folks, if it comes to that. What do you do when, after running a game, you feel low and like it wasn't that good and have no enthusiasm for the next game? Yeah, that's happened to me before. Absolutely has happened to me. It's the game session that bombs. The game session where you're like, oh, that sucked. I suck as a dungeon master, and oh crap. Absolutely. I think that happens to everyone. That happens to everyone. I have two thoughts on you. First of all, your perceptions don't always match reality. How you feel and how you perceive a situation does not always align with reality. In other words, you might have run a perfectly fine game. Your players might have had fun and enjoyed themselves, but you simply perceived it as not being that good. And that is just a matter of, sometimes we're our own worst enemies. So be aware of that. So think, were my players laughing? Did it look like they were having fun? Were they engaging with things? Or were most of them on their cell phones and not even paying attention? When they're on their cell phones and not paying attention, you know that something's up. Does the people occasionally have to go on their phone for something? Yeah, that's not a big deal. But when somebody's on their phone all the time and they're not paying attention, because sometimes you can go on your phone for D&D stuff too. It could be part of playing the game, because there are online resources. There are lots of online resources. But if you know they're not paying attention, they're on their phone most of the time, they don't care about what's going on because they're not having fun. So think, go back and after you leave that game session and you're down and you think you did a bad job, try to think back. How were my players reacting? How did they feel and stuff like that? What did it look like? And if you remember them being all happy and laughing and joking and stuff, well then, hey, you know what? It was actually probably a good game session. I wouldn't worry about it. You just don't perceive things according to reality. If it seems like they weren't having a good time, well then, guess what? It's time to get better. It's time to improve what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So maybe what you do is at the next game session, be like, hey guys, you know, the last game session, I kind of felt that it didn't go so well. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. I don't want you to I don't want you to stoke my ego and reassure me that it was fine. I'm not concerned about that. Okay. What I want from you guys, could you give me some suggestions of things that I could improve on to make games more fun? Things that I could start doing that we're not doing that you think would make it more fun, and maybe things that I do that aren't fun that maybe I should consider stop doing. Just give me some feedback. How can I improve the game for you guys? And get some thoughts from them, you know, and then take that away and then try to improve and become better next time. We should always be trying to improve at the things that we do in life that we care about. You know, now some things you don't care about and you're just like, I don't care. I got to go to work every day. I don't care. Maybe you don't want to get better. But if you want to get better and you want to have more of the times when you go home and feel like, yeah, I ran an awesome game, well, then you want to get better at it and you want to improve. And getting feedback from your players is a great way to find out areas that you can improve and make the game better for them. Now, you're going to have some players who are like, well, if you gave us more magic items and stuff like that, that'd be very nice. So not all feedback is good feedback. You know, sometimes you got to take things with a grain of salt and be like, yeah, Mr. Power Gamer, I don't think I'm going to do that, but I appreciate the feedback. You might not tell them that. Just write it down and be like, okay, thanks. I'll consider that. You know, you don't always implement everything somebody tells to you. You still use your brain. You don't get to check your brain at the door. Ask for feedback, evaluate it, and decide which things you're going to focus on improving. And pick 2 things. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick 2 actionable items from their feedback that you can focus on improving. And here's another thought. Sometimes it's more effective to capitalize on our strengths than it is to try to improve a weakness. Some things we're not good at as human beings, and some things, no matter how much we practice at them, we're still going to be pretty bad. So I can either spend hours and hours and hours trying to become a better artist, never going to happen for me, or I can redirect that effort to spending hours and hours and hours to becoming a better writer. I'm an okay writer. I could become an excellent writer. And then that strength might carry me somewhere. So as a dungeon master, if I'm really good at designing adventures and interesting situations and interesting combats, and I'm good at running, you know, the combat stuff and exploration, but let's just pretend that I'm very bad at social interactions and I can't do different voices. I feel uncomfortable. I just don't do it. That's a weakness of mine. That's okay. Maybe that's not the thing that I'm going to focus on. Maybe I'm going to focus on making my battles even more enjoyable, you know? And so, yes, I have a weakness, you know, I just don't do the voices and I don't role play my NPCs super well. I know you might try to get better on that, but you might also just focus on your strength, play to your strengths. Let that be the bulwark, the foundation of your game. You know, you don't have to be perfect at everything. So that's another thought too. So I had a couple thoughts. The first one was your perceptions don't always match reality. And the second thing is if you're feeling down and depressed about a game when you come back, I had another thought too. I had 2 things and I forgot what the second one was. I think that was it. I think it was basically work on getting better. Focus your efforts on getting better. So I think those were basically my 2 thoughts. Sometimes you're just wrong and you did just fine. Other times you do need to get better and you should focus on getting better. And that's fine, dude. Like, you know, yeah, not being good at something or sometimes failing at it and then learning from that and getting better. Dude, that's the gold in life, man. The not giving up, but keeping at it and then focusing on improving. A lot of times that's the difference between somebody who's a failure and a success. You know, people who are successful are not people that don't fail. People who are successful are people who fail a lot, learn from those failures, and work on getting better. That's what leads to success. Now, maybe it won't, but I guarantee you, everybody who is successful at anything is someone who's failed a lot, made a bunch of mistakes, probably learned a lot from those mistakes, learned from them, analyzed them, and improved upon what they do, upon their craft. And that helps lead them towards success. And that's probably true for most things in life, not just like being a game master. Would you recommend vocal warm-ups before DMing? Yeah, I think so. I will routinely, like my game day, I will practice my voices for my NPCs for two reasons. One, so I can get the voice a little bit into the voice a little bit. If I'm doing a voice that I don't do a whole lot, I have a stable of voices that I can just kind of do on demand that I don't really need to worry about. But then sometimes I want something special, and then I'll practice that a little bit. I also do the vocal warm-ups in voice, with the voice of the character to help practice the dialogue. You never know where a dialogue is gonna go. You can't plan for dialogues. But if I practice stuff and I just talk, you know, I'll play both sides. I will talk in character as the PC, and then I will role play what the players might say, and then I'll role play what the PC responds, what the NPC responds with, and I'll just kind of role play both sides of it to kind of warm up. I don't do that a whole lot. It might be only 5 minutes. It might be while I'm brushing my teeth or taking a shower or something, you know, but something like a little bit like that. And sometimes sometimes helps me put in the mood for running the game too. What is your opinion on the speed of leveling up? Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. It's past 7 o'clock. We're supposed to do a cat strike. It's way past time for a cat strike. We'll get to that question when we come back. Oh, we got to do a cat strike. Important. Thank you for the Prime. I appreciate that. 5 months. Very cool. All right. We're going to do a cat strike, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I give my cats some kitty treats. This right here, you guys notice the upgrade? I have a screw-on lid so they can't break into this. My cat Squeaky especially will try to break into this all the time. But now it's like cat-proof. It's beautiful. All right, here we go. All right, we got some of them. Not all of them. Orange. Where's orange? That's crazy. We only have one live stream a week these days, so I gotta make sure I give them enough. All right, I'll be back. I will be back. Has anybody gone into the box yet? There's more kitty treats in the box. There you go. Squirty Pie goes in. No, Squeaky's gonna be like, whoa, whoa, what do you got going on in the box over there? Hey, what you got in there? Oh, hey. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just do a quick inspection here. Could you get out of that box, please? I gotta check this out. I think I see something in there. I'm gonna have to go in there. Excuse me, could you move out of there, please? I'm gonna just go in there with you if you don't move. I'm about to jump in there with you. Oh, she's not getting her big butt out of the way. Well, I'm gonna lick the carpet and I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna take a different vector on this box. Yeah, this sucks. I just lost my cat treats out of that box. It's not fair. What? You can't go to sleep? It's 2 p.m. It's 2 p.m. It's 2 in the afternoon. It's not time to sleep. At least wait until 2 a.m. and then go to sleep. That's my recommendation. That's my game master advice for you. Squeaky's trying to go for the box again. He's like, I gotta go for the box. I need my kitty trees. There. He's like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. Oh, get my big belly in there. Oh, yeah. Hey, she ate everything. Oh. All right, let's go back to this. What is your opinion on the speed of leveling up? Assuming we were talking about milestone. Would you keep it at the same rate, make it longer than the higher the level is, or something else? Well, first of all, if you're using milestone, there is no rate. There really is no recommended rate for milestone. It's just whenever the dungeon master wants to. Now, modules, of course, will give you recommendations. That's fair. And I would follow them because they design the content in the modules to align with certain levels and be appropriate for certain levels of adventures. So if you don't follow those recommendations, then content will be either too hard or too easy for your players. So would you keep it at the same rate or make it take longer the higher the level is? I don't think there's anything wrong with either of those approaches, having there be a flat rate for leveling up or for having it get slower as you get higher levels. There's nothing inherently wrong with either. I will tell you what I do as a dungeon master and why, probably. I like to keep leveling up at mostly the same rate, which generally tends to be every 3 or 4 game sessions. And most of the time, when I'm homebrewing adventures, not true for modules, you can never tell with modules, but when I'm homebrewing adventures, an adventure that I create usually will take a group 3 or 4 game sessions, 3 to 4 game sessions to get done. So generally what I do is every adventure they complete, they gain a level. It's very simple. It's very easy. Now, not always. Sometimes there's something that's very short or something that's very long or something, who knows? But generally speaking, every adventure, which takes 3 or 4 game sessions, you gain a level. And my rationale is this. I want you to gain a level. I want you to get some cool new abilities or spells. And I want you to be able to use those for a couple game sessions, 3 game sessions, to get used to them. Have fun with them and stuff. But I know that as a player, eventually you're going to want something different, something new, something cool. So after 3 game sessions, it's about time to give you something else that's really cool that you can use. And so it's time to level up. And then you give them a few game sessions, 2 or 3 to 4 game sessions to have fun with their new stuff, new spells, abilities, whatever. And then you level them up again. And you're also, every time you level them up, you're exposing them to different types of monsters, higher level monsters, cool, interesting special abilities and stuff, new challenges. And that keeps things interesting as well. If you stay level 1 for too long and all you're fighting are little weak goblins and stuff, things get less interesting than if you start leveling up and getting higher monsters. And so having them level up every 3 to 4 game sessions has those benefits. It lets them get a cool new thing, use it for a little bit, understand it, get accustomed to it, and then just about when they want something new, guess what? You level up and they get something new and cool. I, as a dungeon master, can keep on using bigger and different and cooler bad guys, as I go along as well. And so I think it behooves everybody, that sort of relationship. It also just so happens that I usually run, when I'm running a D&D group, it's usually every 2 weeks that we have a game session. And if you play every 2 weeks and it takes you about 3 or 4 game sessions to level up, it just so happens that it takes about 2 years to hit level 20, if I did my math right. So that means that after 2 years of play, you're level 20. And that's a pretty good pace in my opinion. Yeah. So anyway, those are some of the rationale behind it. I would recommend when you're at level 1 and 2, level 1 would take 1 game session and then you level up. Level 2 might take a couple game sessions. Level 3, maybe 3 game sessions. After that point, once they get to like level 3, then it's probably going to be like 3 to 4 game sessions to level up. Generally how I would pace it. That's just, yeah. There's no guarantee. You can never tell how long it will take a group to get through an adventure. So there's always an element of guesswork to it. But when I homebrew adventures, they tend to be longer. I like to make big, beefy adventures when I homebrew stuff. So it usually takes them a few game sessions to get through it. So those are my thoughts on that. A thumbnail. Is it okay to ask PCs to be retired after 15th level? Most modules provide no support for high level play, and I find the game stops becoming as fun to game master at higher levels. It is 100% within the prerogative of the dungeon master to decide how long this campaign lasts. Oh my gosh, Orange is here. Orange missed all of the treats and now he is here. I'm sorry, I'll get back to you in a second. I need to give him some snacks because Orange, I actually just took Orange to the vet because he wasn't feeling very good and he wasn't eating, and now he's starting to eat again, and so I want to make sure I give him some snacks. You want some of this, buddy? Fat tub. I just took it. Orange wasn't feeling good. He's off camera now, but he's eating. He wasn't feeling good. You could just tell. I have cats. So I took him to the vet, did a bunch of blood work. $300 later, I had a bunch of medicines to give to him, make him feel better and get him eating and stuff. And so now he's eating. So when he comes asking for food, Daddy gives him food. Yeah, he definitely appears to be feeling better. He's acting much more like his normal self, his personality and stuff like that. Yeah, so he's definitely on the mend. I'm very, very happy. So 100% within your prerogative to decide how long your campaign lasts, whether it goes to level 15, 20, whatever it is. I personally like going to 20, but I can totally commiserate with the idea that high level play is not very fun for the game master. It can be, but it can also not be. It really depends. It depends on how much your players are, let's say, cooperating with you and how much they're not, I suppose, because when you get access to certain abilities and skills and spells at higher level, it can easily make running the game more challenging. If you get a group of players that understand those challenges and work with you and are reasonable about it, then it can be super fun for everybody. Otherwise, I could definitely see how it would be unenjoyable, because it does become a lot more difficult and challenging to run the game at higher levels and to make things still interesting and fun and enjoyable. Hey, don't yell at him. Mommy was yelling at Orange. So yeah, if you don't enjoy running the high level games, it's your right as the game master not to do it, and just explain to your players, hey, we're going to 15, and then that's it. That's your right to do that. So yeah, if that's what you need to do and that's what you want to do, rock on. And you're right. Well, here's the reason modules don't usually go past level 12 or 15. There is a big reason. Because Wizards knows the game becomes very challenging at that point to not only game master, but to write a module for. They know the challenges of high level play. They know the challenges of writing a module for higher levels. They know that. They're not morons. So they don't design modules usually for higher levels. They usually stop around 12 or 15 because things get more and more difficult to create a module for that high level of play. It just does. It just does. And as new features come out for player options like Tasha's and stuff, older modules just become defunct because new player features and stuff that weren't around when the module was written could make the higher level adventures trivial because of the power creep inherent in new player abilities as well. And so there's something there to consider as well, I feel. Only goes to level 8. Nice. It's not like they don't playtest the game. Well, here's the thing. There are playtesters, but one might question, how much of the playtest feedback is taken into account. Yeah. One might question that. We did this on stream once. We punched some math and timelines about how when they were releasing preview content in Unearthed Arcana and when they were planning on publishing the book that content was going to appear in. We punched the math and went to the calendar and we calculated things out, and we were like, based upon when it was released in Unearthed Arcana, when they solicited the surveys from players, how long it would take to actually make meaningful changes to the content, and when their publishing deadline was, and all the different steps in between required to actually get the thing published, there's no possible way they incorporated anybody's feedback from the Unearthed Arcana release. There was no time baked into the process. Now, that was just one instance that we noticed that, and we broke it down on stream. And I was like, I publish crap, and so I know a lot of these steps that are involved in making this happen. I just put out a Kickstarter release today, and we have more delays on things. Things are taking longer than we anticipated because there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of stuff going on, and one little delay here ripples down the chain. So we punched the numbers. And at least in that specific case, we determined that there's no way they took anybody's feedback from the Unearthed Arcana into that module. Now, did they have playtesting happen before the Unearthed Arcana? Probably, But if they're going to publicly, release something, solicit feedback, but then not have time to implement it, you know what I mean? How pervasive is that attitude, throughout the entire process? Who knows? We don't know. We're just really supposing at this point. So Ed says, I certainly question it from past experience. I was talking to somebody, Ed, one time who was literally telling me how they had submitted various points of feedback about certain things in the game, and they noticed that none of their feedback was ever taken. And some of the features were released in a very broken state that if they had taken their feedback, it would have been improved, So there's some anecdotal evidence there. Obviously, it's just one data point, but understandable. Goliath Cleric, what up, dude? Welcome, man. Blessings be upon you all. Blessings, children. Blessings upon you all. All right. After playing 5th edition every second week since it was released, that's a long time, and many mentions from me, several players in our group are still in the trap that they can't wait to level up for how much more awesome they'll be. And I'm like, dudes, just enjoy your current level instead of talking about the next level. Do you have any tips to make them enjoy the moment more? Or am I the problem? Maybe it isn't a problem. I'm currently a player myself, but next adventure is my turn to be a GM. That is the condition of most players. That is the condition of most players. Honestly, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I really wouldn't, because what's fun for one person isn't fun for another. And if your players are excited about leveling up and getting cool things, I don't think that I would personally want to take that excitement away from them. Now, could they possibly be missing out on current things that could be fun if they would shift their focus? Maybe. But if they're having fun and they're enjoying one aspect of the game and that's what the fun thing is for them, as long as that aspect of the game doesn't like negatively impact the game and take away from other people's fun, because there is a way to do that too. I'm having fun, but it's impacting everybody else's. But if they're having fun and they're enjoying it, I wouldn't take that away from them. I wouldn't try to detract from that, as long as it's not negatively impacting the game. Could they be missing out on some things? Sure. But hey, they're having fun. They enjoy this aspect of it. Okay, that's cool. Let's roll with that. You play the game because you enjoy the leveling up process. You enjoy attaining more power, more cool things and stuff. That's a legitimate way to play the game. You don't really care about my world. You don't care about the NPCs and all that kind of stuff. You just want to gain more levels of power. That's fine. Nobody cares about your world. It's just the way it is, you know? So if they're having fun and they're enjoying that aspect of it, don't try to fight it. Be happy that they're enjoying an aspect of the game. I will say too, this is a reason there are, if you want to take RPGs and put them into two broad categories of types of characters, you could say that there are systems, there are RPG systems where the characters, the PCs, are mostly static. They don't gain a lot of hit points. They don't gain extra damage. They don't gain much more power. Their power level is mostly static in the game world. There isn't this idea of leveling up. And then, because when you level up, you don't really get a whole lot. It's not that big of a deal. And then there are RPG game systems where leveling up is a big thing, like Dungeons and Dragons is like that. I haven't played a whole lot of Call of Cthulhu, but I get the feeling that Call of Cthulhu is not a leveling up game. But I haven't played a whole lot, so I might be speaking a lot from ignorance here, but it seems like it's not a game where you level up and gain tons of power. You kind of are who you are, and that's kind of that way. Whereas D&D is a leveling up game. You gain more and more power as you go. And I don't want to generalize too much, but many of the fantasy games that don't use a leveling up mechanic where you kind of maintain the same level of power don't tend to be super popular. They just don't. The ones that tend to be most popular are the ones where there is a leveling up mechanic and the players are gaining more and more power. And I think there's a reason for that. I think that's because players just like that. It's fun for them to become more and more powerful and gain new cool things. And it's not as fun to mostly remain the same and not change too much as a character. And so I think there's a reason that there's a popularity in certain systems. Now, it's not always true. Obviously, you know, lots of people love Call of Cthulhu, you know. Call of Cthulhu has a level up, but it's mostly you are what you are. Okay, that was the impression I had. You kind of gain some things, but it's minimal, but you mostly are who you are. But Call of Cthulhu, though, is way different. The gameplay is way different than D&D. D&D and RPGs like it are really combat-based games at their core. And so when you have a game that's mostly about combat and fighting things, gaining levels and getting cooler and awesomer stuff and powers and stuff becomes an important characteristic of a game like that, in my opinion. When you have something like Call of Cthulhu is not a combat-based game. Like, when fights start, in my limited experience in Call of Cthulhu as a player, when people start fighting, when you start fighting, whatever that big bad thing is, you're usually about to die. And that's probably want to find a different solution if you can, and be careful about it, because you don't have a lot of health. You die in like 1 or 2 hits, you're done, dude. So Call of Cthulhu is much more of a mystery investigation. You use your brain, try to figure out the puzzle and stuff, and then once you figure out what's going on and there's a bad guy, fighting him might be a bad idea. So it's a different sort of game, you know. So not having it be a level up game makes sense to me, because that's not what the game is about. But that's just based on my limited experience with it. I don't want to speak too much about it. So the first time I played Call of Cthulhu, I told the group, It's at a convention. I was like, hey guys, I've never played this game before. I come from D&D. That's what I know. And I was starting to play the game, and I was thinking with a D&D mentality, and I was looking to fight things. And one of the players literally told me, hey Luke, I know you come from D&D, so I'm gonna tell you that in Call of Cthulhu, it's not like D&D. If you start fighting something, you're probably gonna die. It's not a fighting type game. So just shift your mentality a little bit, is basically what he was telling me. And that was a perfect piece of advice. And I was very appreciative of that. Because if somebody hadn't told me that, I would have been dead pretty quickly, because I was gonna fight stuff. I thought it was cool. I think I've played both Pulp Cthulhu and the normal one. I've played both of them. Both of them were still very deadly once stuff started getting fighting. Hey, you're very welcome. Well, oh, very welcome, dude. I'm happy to help. Yeah. Put a time mark in there. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? How to DM things like buildings or caves collapsing. I'm not able to make my players feel that the clock is ticking and that they need to escape now. They always want to do more things, and killing them right away is just cruel and unfair. What's a good middle ground? You're right. Yeah. If you say, hey guys, the cave is collapsing, and they're like, oh crap, it's starting to collapse, let's go do this thing, and you're just like, well, the cave falls on all of your heads and you're dead. Yeah, that's not fair. I would also agree with players that is probably not the optimal way to go about that solution. The middle ground to just letting them dilly-dally and do whatever, and then having the cave collapse, is when they tarry in the area, a section of the roof collapses. John and Jim, make a dexterity saving throw. Oh crap. Oh, I failed. Yeah, rocks fall on your head and you take 17 damage. And you made your save, you take half damage. Oh crap, the ceiling is literally collapsing and we're taking more damage. Okay, well, you know what? It's not that bad yet. Let's keep on doing some stuff. That's fine. You know, give them a little bit of time. The more rocks fall, dexterity saves and stuff like that. And then the collapse and the rocks falling begins happening more frequently until it's happening all of the time. And they're bigger and they deal more damage. And the players get the feeling that, okay, now we should really get going. So that's the middle ground, and that's the way to do that sort of thing, and make it fun and interesting too. So it's the trade-off. It's like, how long we want to do X thing while we're here in this dangerous situation, but how long do we dare stay? The longer we stay, more and more bad things are happening to us. Are we going to weather the storm? How long are we going to weather the storm? And when are we going to decide it's time to get out of here before we just all die? And that creates excitement and drama and tension. And then they can continue to try doing the thing they want to do, but at great risk. And eventually time will run out and they'll know it, because you're leading up to it with the frequency of the rocks collapsing and the bad things happening. And eventually they're going to have to get the heck out of there. And so that creates a suspenseful and fun encounter and a fun situation for your players to be in. And then nobody can say it's unfair, because you guys, come on, were you not there? Did you not? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the way to do that. Do you prefer to have a session end during a specific event, or do you set a time limit more often than not? Oh, it's always a time limit. We have our game sessions last from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's pretty much it. So right around the 8:30 mark, my brain is, and I keep a watch on the clock the whole time, so I'm pacing things. My brain around 8:30 is like, okay, I need to find an ending point. If we're in the middle of a combat, let's try to wrap this combat up so it'll be done with. by 9 o'clock. If it's 8:30 and a combat is about to begin, that's a really bad time to start a combat because it'll probably take us past our end time. So we'll have the opening parts of that encounter where there's some talking going on. And then as soon as combat's about to begin, I'll describe weapons being drawn, and then we cut it off and we end it. And then we'll pick that combat up the next time. So that's like ending, in that case, it's ending on a cliffhanger. If you end right after a battle, it's not so much a cliffhanger. I usually try to find cliffhanger moments, suspenseful, dramatic moments where I can pause the game. When it's possible to do so, it can be enjoyable and fun. You don't always find those moments because you just don't know how much of the content your group is going to get through in a given game session. You just don't know. You can't plan for it. It's impossible. If you're running your game in the style that I run my games, you can't plan for that sort of thing. If you're running your game where you're basically forcing the content down your players' throats and they have no choice and no agency, then you could probably determine more or less what content they're going to get through because you're basically playing the game by yourself at that point. But point is that it's really hard to like pick an event to end on because you just don't know how much content your players are going to get through, how long they're going to take to do stuff, and how quickly things will get resolved. So time limits, and then seek an appropriate place to end the game session once you're getting close to that time limit. And look for a cliffhanger, a dramatic moment, if you at all can. Oh, geez, I'm way behind on the questions. Yeah, sometimes cliffhangers are not there. Yeah, I always look for them. I find the cliffhanger about 25% of the time, which means 75% of the time there's no cliffhanger. It's just time's up, guys. We gotta go. Jig RST, thank you for the Prime, dude. I appreciate that. Luke, do you have anything you consider a must-have experience to give your players when you run a session in the swamp? Tentacles. Tentacles writhing around their ankles, caressing their ankles, going up their leg a little bit. You gotta have something in the water of the swamp. The swamp water is murky, they can't see what it is, and it's like gently caressing their ankle or their calf or something and freaking them out. You gotta have that scene. That's probably something I go for in a swamp. Yeah, for sure. And something exploding out of the water, you know, and surprising them. It doesn't have to attack them necessarily, but just that you're walking along and then just the water bursts and these shapes emerge type of thing. So that's probably something I'll go for too. So those are a couple things that come to my mind when I think swamps. I'm probably going to, you know, capitalize on those types of things. A hydra. Leeches. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. Any advice for DMs who haven't developed the patience for power and story pacing? I'm not sure what that means. A friend that DMs often likes to give out powerful magic items really early and cause epic story events every session. I'm not sure what the beginning of that question is really getting at. Haven't developed the patience for power and storytelling and story pacing. It seems like there's nothing inherently wrong with giving out powerful magic items early in the game. And there's nothing inherently wrong with having epic story events every session. There's nothing inherently wrong with either of those two things. There are pitfalls around both of them that are best avoided. So there's nothing inherently wrong with them if they're done properly. There's lots of pitfalls around giving out magic items early. The pitfall around, and I've talked about those at length before. I think I have an entire video about that. Actually, part of it is about giving out magic items, powerful magic items too early. There are some advice people out there that you want to ignore when they say give out magic items. Give out your players magic items because you never know how long you're going to play the game. Now, having epic story events every session, of course, the pitfall there is that if every moment is super awesome, amazing, and crazy, everything just becomes dull. You need to have the slow moments, you need to have the build up, and then the climax, and then the wrap up, the denouement, I think is the term that they'll sometimes use, and then in an introduction and a building and the rising action, the suspense, the climax. It's the typical pattern, you know, that you'll find in stories. Not that we're necessarily doing storytelling, but a story is formed. You want to build your adventures around that type of idea. You know, an adventure follows that path. You know, the inciting action or the incident, the thing that happens, your plot hook, and the rising action over the course of the adventure. They learn more and more, and they get to the final boss or something. That's your climax. And then they wrap up the dungeon, they go back in, and they turn into their NPC quest giver, and they get their reward. That is your, you know, rising action climax, and then the wrap up, the denouement or whatever that you have. I'm probably pronouncing it's a French word, I'm pronouncing it wrong. That you have at the end of the adventure. The conclusion, you might call it, or something. So you want to design your adventures that way. So there's a way to design an adventure, right, that follows that pattern in storytelling, and you do that for a reason. What was the question again? So yeah, so when everything is a climax, that makes for a very bad story. Probably a very bad adventure. Let me use an example from the last Star Wars movie, shall we? The very last Star Wars movie that they put out. What's the name of it? Can somebody drop the name of it? I forget what the name of it is. It was the train wreck. The one that was a train wreck. Somebody knows. Help me. Which was the last Star Wars movie that was an entire train wreck? Rise of Skywalker. Thank you. Train wreck. Okay. One of the big problems with Rise of Skywalker is that everything was a climatic moment. There was no pacing in that movie. From the very beginning, when the movie opened up until the very end, it was action, excitement, go, more. The whole thing, it was like a roller coaster where you're going down the whole time, and you're like, the whole time. There was no slow climb and then and then and then and then The whole movie was basically climax and action pounding at your face. It was like the entire movie they were trying to one up themselves. They had something impactful happen. Many of them weren't very believable, but they'd have something super impactful happen, and then 5 minutes later they're trying to beat themselves. And then they're trying to get even better, and they're trying to get even better. And they're doing these grand reveals and Mary Sue moments and all these kind of things where there's a whole lot of criticism and stuff you could go with. But one of the biggest things is they were attempting to have a climax every 5 minutes, and they were one-upping themselves every single time. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like you got a legendary magic item at level 1, and then you just kept getting artifacts and stuff, and then you became a deity by level 3, and it was just like, oh my gosh, it never ends. So there was no pacing at all in that. And that is when you cause epic story events every single session, that's what it will feel like. There's no pacing. There's no time to breathe and to pause, to appreciate anything. You just can't catch your breath. One of the reasons side conversations happen in D&D, one of the reasons people break away from the flow of things and make jokes and cause side chatter is for pacing. They need pacing. Like, there are some really intense moments in the game, such as combat, that you need a break from. You need to take a breather. Sometimes, if the dungeon master is not good at pacing, the players will subconsciously enforce that pacing on the game themselves by making a joke, by making a wisecrack, by having a side conversation, because they feel and they know that they need a break from all of this tension, and so they create it themselves because the dungeon master isn't doing it for them. And so there are things that players do, like that will create it themselves. The dungeon master doesn't do it. What's my advice for that? If they can't do those things, I mean, they need to know what the pitfalls are. If you see somebody that's falling in, that's doing things that aren't good, let us say, or that have bad effects, they need to know what the problem is. So helping them to see why it causes an issue, and then what the alternative might be that might improve their game, is probably a good first step. However, a lot of times unsolicited criticism is unwelcome criticism, or even if it's feedback. A lot of times when you go out on a limb to try to help somebody improve something, if they didn't ask you for help, it might not be received well, even if you're nice about it. So just be aware that there's a human psychology thing there. Even if you're nice about it, people might take offense to it because they didn't ask you for the feedback. So that's always something that's worth considering as well. You got to give players time to digest what happened. Yeah. Yep. Thank you for the time, Mark. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I should put a timestamp here. Yep, that's good. I do like to do a little bit different formatting though. I like to do 1H and then 51M. I have found sometimes that when it puts the colons in between it, it goofs things up in the spreadsheet, and then I can't find where the timestamps are. So just like an FYI. Thank you. I appreciate everything. That right there was unsolicited feedback. An example of it. But my moderators are awesome. I love them. They know that. I cannot, you guys, I was just thinking about this was it today or yesterday? Okay, so I was listening to an audiobook from Tim Ferriss. I love Tim Ferriss and his stuff that he does. And the book that I was listening to from him, there was one of the parts of it, the person that he was interviewing and getting information from essentially said that when you do something as a business, you really should look for one main reason to do a thing. Instead of having like lots of various reasons to do a thing that may or may not be good, if you're going to engage in a certain project or thing with your business, there should be one really, really good reason to do it that drives the entire thing, as opposed to a bunch of so-so reasons. You know, it's like, well, maybe. But you should really look for one really big driving reason to do a thing with your business. And so I heard that and I paused it and I was thinking about that and I was digesting it, you know, how can I apply this to my business, you know, and that sort of thing. And what came to my mind immediately was LayerCon. And I was like, okay, LayerCon, we're doing this convention. I might lose money on it overall, who knows? It might be a failure, who knows? It might be a success, I might make money. I might enjoy it, I might not enjoy it. People might enjoy it, not enjoy it. I'm trying to think about what's my question to myself was, what's my one big reason to do this convention? What's my one driving reason to do this convention? And what I came to is because I want to see people in person. I want to hang out with people in person that I know. I thought of my moderators. I thought of Ed and Sunny and Danny and Goliath Cleric, Zack, Baldmun if he can make it. And I was like, I want to see these people in person. I want to hang out with them. I want to play games with them. Go out and have dinner and lunch and stuff. That will be fun. Even if I lose my butt and even if it's a failure, I will have gotten to hang out with these people that I care about, that I work with and stuff, you know, and that's going to be amazing for me. And on top of that, I'm going to get to hang out. Amber's will be there, for instance, and other people, you know, that I've met in the community and stuff. Other people are going to be there as well. And I'm going to get to see them and hang out with them. And that is going to be fun. And that is going to be enjoyable. And so this is like turning into a dumb, mushy moment. But I was thinking, what is my one driving reason for doing this convention? And it's to hang out with some people that I care about. And I was like, yeah, that's a good reason. Even if I go in the red on this, I'm still going to have accomplished that goal. And that would make it worth it for me. So I don't know how I got on that topic. But yeah, I thought about that. Oh, it's because they, oh yeah, I remember now. The penguin butt, it's making me cry. Yeah, sorry. I told you, yeah, I confessed. I got into a mushy moment. That's not intentional. All right. Estrogen, thank you for the tier 1. I appreciate that. 12 months. A 1 year streak. Oh, baby. That's awesome. Thanks, Ed. I appreciate that. We enjoy the raw honesty. Yeah, I tend to be honest. I tend to be one of two things. I'm either honest with you or I don't talk about it. If it's something that I can't be honest about for like liability reasons, because I don't feel people are going to understand the truth, then I just won't talk about it. Or there are some things I avoid, like political crap, you know what I mean? Because it's not worth it. Or I'll just tell you the honest truth. Yeah, that's what you get. Genuineness? What's the word? When someone is genuine, what's the noun? There's a noun. What is that called? What's that word? Authenticity. Thank you. That's it. Authenticity. That's what you get. Authenticity. With a bit of showmanship. I'm not gonna lie. Authenticity with a bit of showmanship. Because you don't want to be boring. You don't want to be boring. There's too many boring people in the world. Let's be exciting. Will there be a YouTube video from the con afterwards? No, probably not. We will be doing some panels. We'll have a couple panels. We're probably going to try to record those, but nothing else is going to really be capturable on video. Audio would just be a hot mess in that venue. So, but the panel should be pretty easy to capture with good audio, which is the most important thing when you're doing a video. All right. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Let's do our cat trip, and then we'll come back to more fine questions here. Oh, coffee alert. Oh, I got the coffee alert. Thank you. Oh, look at that. It's all on yellow now. Nice. Okay, so we're doing our cat trip. It's cat trip time. What is this? Where's your banana? Orange, what's up, buddy? What's Orange doing? Orange is hanging out with me. He's just been underneath my chair hanging out with me. All right, I have the banana and I have the happy carrot. You guys, it was literally called, oops, it was literally called the happy carrot when I bought it at the store. The packaging said happy carrot. Luke can sit behind a folding table and do autographs and photos for $10 each for the authentic con experience. I'll do autographs and photos for free. Are you kidding me? I'm like an attention seeking ham, dude. Are you kidding me? I'll do that crap for free. All right, here you go, buddy. Oh, I know how to get them down here. Where did all my cats go? I only have one cat. I only have one cat. All of my cats are gone. You guys, we're trying to do a cat trip and all my cats are gone. This has never happened. This has never happened. Oh, I was planning on Saturday or Sunday morning because I'm gonna drive home and I don't want to be out super late. Oh, for the con? Who took my cats? Okay, well, I have one cat. Okay, he is investigating. You can watch Orange. I'll be right back. I gotta go bio. Here you go, Squeaky. Go get your banana. Oh, look at your banana. Banana. Squeaky showed up. All right, we got the cat trip, we got the coffee. I have a player that loves to shop in like every single town. He also gets irritated when the shop doesn't have what he wants. He will shop for like ever, and the other players I can tell are annoyed but respectful. How can I politely get the point across that shopping for an hour is boring? Don't role play it. You don't have to role play shopping. If the entire group isn't in on it, simply tell them, okay, this town's shops have everything that's in the player handbook that's worth 25 gold pieces or under. Everything in there is available. Just go ahead and buy what you want. If it's under 25 gold pieces, they have it. Just buy it and subtract the gold. That's it. That's it. You're done. You move on. And then your other players get to do things. So you don't role play out the shopping. I rarely role play shopping in my games. Rarely. Most of the times when we're in town shopping, I got a bug flying in my face. I simply tell my players, okay, just determine what you want to buy, subtract it from your character sheets, and let me know when you're ready. And that's it. So they go buy their potions, they might ask me what a scroll costs or something. There might be some things they'll ask if it's available, if it's something that normally wouldn't be, if it's not the player handbook. But for the most part, they simply resolve it on their own. Within about 15 minutes, everybody has decided what they're gonna buy, and we move on with the game. Now, there are times where we role play shopping out. 2 weeks ago, I had my Ancient Dragon Patreon game, and they came to a new city they've never been to before, and it wasn't actually shopping, but we did do a bunch of we did do a bunch of role playing of things that we usually wouldn't do in the game. It wasn't technically shopping, but some of it was shopping. We literally had some instances where it was about a half an hour to an hour of shopping, and we were role playing out the entire interaction with the shopkeeper. And I was using special voices and stuff like that, and really funny, hilarious stuff was happening. So we did spend a lot of time role playing shopping in that game session. That is an exception though. That is the outlier. Usually we don't, because usually shopping isn't super exciting. That was an instance where I intentionally made it exciting not just because I decided to, but because my players were pursuing things that literally had to do with the adventure, and shopping was part of helping them achieve their goals for what they were doing in the adventure. And so I decided that it would be appropriate to roleplay this out in full, as opposed to just telling them to go buy it, because it fit in with what was going on in the adventure that they were playing out. So it was a special circumstance. If you're not introducing a special NPC, a cool looking shopkeeper or something, for reasons, and it could be just reasons because it's fun, but most of the time my suggestion would be to not roleplay out shopping. Just tell them what's available. It's in your player handbook. You know, take 15 minutes, tell me what you buy, and we're gonna move on. And then you call it a day. Because usually shopping isn't interesting for most players. It just isn't. And so if you're running a game, sometimes there are going to be parts of the game that not everybody's interested in. But when there are parts of the game that are usually boring for almost everybody, you generally want to move by those parts of the game as quickly as possible. It's just not worth tarrying. It's not worth spending your time there if you know most of your players don't like it. It's not worth it. Every so often, you might have a shopping roleplay moment where you play it out because you know that one player apparently likes it, you know, and that's cool. That's fine. You're giving him that little thing he likes. But most of the time you're not going to, because you know most of the time nobody else likes it. And it's possible you might just tell that to him straight up and be like, this is why we're doing it this way, because nobody else likes it. They're being nice and respectful and stuff, but we can't do this every game session because it's not fun for people. So we just can't do it. There's nothing wrong with simply telling them straight up the reason for doing a thing. In fact, it's recommended. Explain why. Your players will probably appreciate it. He might still be upset, but at least he'll understand the rationale, and you'll learn whether he is a reasonable person or not. What do you think about Wizards of the Coast pulling the exclusive subclasses from the Strixhaven book? I know nothing about that. Ed, do you know anything about that? U10 or Sunny? Penguin Butt, did you send me an update on that I didn't read? I'm so behind. I took like a week and a half vacation and I'm still trying to catch up on everything, but I'm getting very close. Okay, they pulled the multi-class subclasses from Strixhaven due to the overwhelming negative feedback. Is that the one we looked at in Unearthed Arcana or something, where you had a subclass that could be taken by multiple classes? Oh yeah, well I think our response was mostly negative too, wasn't it? We looked at that in Unearthed Arcana, and I don't think we were very favorably inclined toward it. I think I was kind of okay with it, but I definitely know that there were some people in the chat that did not like the idea at all. I think I saw some chatter in my Discord too about it. It was overwhelmingly negative. Why people try to hint, nudge, or create learned situations for others' behavior instead of just telling it like it is. Yeah, because people don't like, most people don't like conflict. Most people avoid conflict in their lives. We are a very polite society. We avoid confrontations and we avoid conflict. And when you tell people how it is, that could create conflict. And so most people in our very polite society will put up with injustices, we will put up with slights, we will put up with things that are annoying that we don't like to avoid conflict. We will. It is the nature of our society. We're overly polite to each other and we won't say things to each other's faces. We'll go on social media and say it. We are brave as all on social media, Oh, let me tell you. But in person, to people's faces, people are cowards, and they're too polite. But on social media, everybody is a level 15 fighter with like confidence and intimidation. And let me tell you, oh, social media, woo. And in person, they're just like, I don't know how to interact with you. Sorry. There's a free rant for you. The problem is that once Wizards does it, once it becomes a thing they can do anytime they want, even in core D&D. Like, what do you mean? What's that in reference to? It wasn't about it being overpowered. It was hard. It was about it being hard to manage. I can see that. Yeah, it was hard to manage. Uh-huh. We need that chibi of Luke and his phone there. This one right here. There you go. Somebody should be able to get a screenshot of that. So what do I think about them pulling it? It's their prerogative to pull whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They own the game. They run their company. It's their prerogative. I'm sure they have their reasons. They were caving to social media pressure again, weren't they? Of course, you could also make a very strong argument that if your customers have give you lots of negative feedback about something, maybe that's not the thing to give your customers. Because it is a thing as a business, you should listen to your customers and you should give your customers what they want, what they're willing to purchase and buy and pay for, because they're your customers, dude. They're your customers. However, if you have like, you know, that vocal minority, that very vocal minority that does not represent the majority of your player base, then it's maybe a dangerous territory to listen to that vocal minority, because they don't represent the interests of the majority of your customers. But if they make decisions based upon the interests and feedback they've received from a good portion of their customers, what they might consider to be a majority of them, it's always hard to say because you're not getting feedback literally from the majority. It's just going to be from the people who give you feedback. But if they're making decisions based upon what their customers want, that's not a bad business practice. That's a good business practice. It's just like, you know, does it represent the majority of customers, or were they caving, you know, to the vocal minority who's just very loud and annoying on Twitter and stuff? That's the real question. I make business decisions based upon what my customers want. Absolutely. Guarantee you. I did a poll for Layer Magazine saying, hey guys, what's the content you find most valuable? And guess what? I started giving them more of the stuff that many people wanted and less of the stuff that they didn't want. There's still a variety because not everybody wants the same thing, but I definitely listened to what they said because it's in my best interests to give them the things they find most valuable so that they will remain customers, because it's in my best interest and in theirs. They get stuff that they want and there's an equitable exchange of value there. So listening to your customers is not a bad thing at all. And businesses who don't listen to their customers often find themselves out of business, I might add. More monsters, yes. I'm also amazed they were able to make that book change as fast as they did. Oh, just kind of pull the content out. Oh, we have more redemptions. I found it easier at this point to list what I do use rather than what I exclude. Yeah, removing content's pretty easy. Yeah. What was I gonna look at? Oh, I was gonna look at redemptions. Wow. Cat trip. Trash talk. Where is it? Where's it? Hey, wait a second. Nobody redeemed the cat trip. I gave you guys a cat trip and nobody redeemed one. I just assumed somebody would redeem a cat trip. Dan Bear, you have almost 100K channel points. I call upon thee to redeem a cat trip. I call upon thee. I call upon the chat. Oh, you cleared it. Oh, okay, never mind. Ed cleared it. I'm not, yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, folks. It's out of stock. It has been cleared. I thought I caught chat cheating. It's like, I gave you a redemption for free. We can't do that around here. It's breaking the rules. Okay, you guys, Penguin Butt has been redeeming the exact same thing for like a month now. Every single stream, she comes in and she redeems Make Luke Dance on Stream, Napoleon Dynamite. Every single time I have a live stream. Every single time. I feel like I should do it for her because I have literally been evading it like for a month now. Okay, we're gonna do the Napoleon Dynamite dance. I need to pull it up on YouTube, because I don't have it memorized. Napoleon Dynamite dance. There you go. That was fast. I've watched this many times. All right, we're gonna get this going. Can you play that video for me? All right, I can't play the audio. I can't play the audio for you because, yeah, copyright crap. And I can't show the video, but I am doing the Napoleon. This is the Napoleon Dynamite dance, folks. Get ready to be amazed by my amazing dancing skills. I am good. All right, get this chair over here, right there, and yeah, I'm gonna dance now. You're gonna be astounded by my awesomeness. I guarantee you. All right, cats. Cats, you're in the way, cats. That was a roll. And there you have
the Napoleon Dynamite dance, ladies and gentlemen. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
All right. On that note, I am trying to raise money for the Capital Area Humane Society. They help kitties and puppies and dogs and all that kind of stuff. Do lots of awesome, amazing things. We are at $215 right now, trying to get $500 for them. If you loved my dancing skills, why don't you tip something and help the Capital Area Humane Society? They're a humane society where I live. Yeah, there you go. So shameless. I do shameless things for charity. Oh. Izan, thank you so much for the 300 bits. I appreciate that. Somebody definitely clipped that. If that didn't get clipped, and I'm not gonna live on an infamy, I don't. Yeah. Ugh. All right. So Penguin Butt. I have redeemed your dance. All right. So I hope you feel happy. I did that for you. This is like one of the very small things that I do to try to maintain a positive work environment for my employees. Doing silly dances to make them laugh at their boss. Yeah, like, my boss is dumb. Look at this. And then they go off and do a bunch of work. All right, let's see. We're having fun with these. We'll do some more redemptions. Make Luke talk in character. It's worth it. Talk as wizard about the joys of rubbing little guy's belly. Let me tell you a thing or two about rubbing little guy's belly. Every time I rub his belly, I think sometime, perhaps, my wish might be granted, and Ed will finally come and get this little demon out of my house. I am so tired of upending my pipe onto the floor when I bend over to rub his belly, although it is very soft and very adorable, and he seems to take great pleasure out of having his belly rubbed. But not that withstanding, I am looking forward to not having him here bothering me when I'm trying to enjoy a smoke. Okay, that's what I got for that. Oster, I don't even know if you're still here, but that one, oh, he is still here. Okay, cool. That one was for you, buddy. All right. Make Luke talk in character. Druid, can you explain to Mike and Sue what a furry is? The druid? What was the druid's voice? I haven't had the druid on for so long. Oh, yeah, that's right. I know the druid now. I don't know if I can tell you what a furry is. I like to think of a furry as a big, adorable kitty cat that I like to pet. It's very, very furry. I believe there are theories out there as well about people who put fur on and pretend to be animals. I've heard rumors of this practice. I don't really know too much about it, in all honesty. So Mike and Sue, that is my best guess at what a furry is. But failing that, let's just go with the big, adorable kitty cat. All right, I got that one. Trash talk the merch. All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, would you like to be a walking billboard and wear one of my shirts? You know, a shirt that says the DM layer on it so you can tell all your friends without actually telling them anything? No, of course you won't. Wearing shirts that advertise my brand is lame. Are you kidding me? Do not click that link the moderators are gonna put up there. Don't even, oh, and Penguin Butt put it up there. Don't click that link. Do not buy a DM layer hoodie. I don't care if they're the softest, most comfortable hoodies you will ever purchase. It doesn't matter. Do not be a walking billboard. It's like walking around with an Armor All logo on your shirt or a Nike swoosh. You're just advertising for that brand. Don't be sleazy. Don't do it. Don't click that link. Okay, got it. Danny would be proud. Where is she to defend it? Wait until payday then. Click the link, I dare you. Make Luke rant. Then I pay for one too. Rant about what? I don't know what to rant about. I need a prompt. Danny is MIA. Make Luke do a cheesy plug. Oh, now I have to do a cheesy plug. Okay, let's do a cheesy plug. I hope this is entertaining. Jeez, I'm just stupid. Hey, you. Yeah, you right there. Do you want to have your life changed? Would you like to be among millions of people who have had their lives radically transformed? I know you would. I know you would. That's why today and today only, if you become a DM Layer patron, you're gonna get an issue of Layer Magazine. Layer Magazine will help reduce your prep time and improve your games. But not only that, if you sign up within the next 30 minutes, I'm not gonna give you one issue of Layer Magazine. I'm gonna give you 2 high quality issues of Layer Magazine that is going to revolutionize the way you prep for your games and run your games. Yeah, you like Matt Mercer? You like Brendan Lee Mulligan? Yeah, you do, don't you? Because they're awesome. Don't you want to be like them? Get Layer Magazine, become a DM Layer patron today, and your dreams of being the most awesomest dungeon master in the world can be realized. But only if you act now. If you wait, this moment will pass you by, and you will remain in a stagnant, ungrowth-like condition as a game master, and your players will leave you, and you will have no one at your table, and you will sink into depression. So act now. You have 2 roads before you. One leads to fulfillment and success, and the other to depression and medication. I know what choice I'd make. Okay, how was that? Oster's like, Luke, stop. I am a patron. Don't make me start tipping again. Oh, that was so good. Estrogen, thank you so much for the $5. That goes directly toward our goal for raising money for the Capital Area Humane Society. I really appreciate that. Hey, Dell. What's up, Dell? How you doing? Good to see you. I was really excited. I think that's the same Dell. You're the same Dell I raid all the time, right? Like, the name is like long and I can't remember. I was super excited when I saw you guys streaming on Sunday and I could raid you. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't raided these guys in a while. Let's go there. That's why I just call you Dell, because I can't pronounce your name. I did the cheesy plug. There we go. A salesperson NPC based on your cheesy plugs. Oh dude, I'd make such a good infomercial salesman. Oh man, I would be all over that. I'd make the big bucks as the infomercial salesman. Squeaky, what are you doing down there? Okay, let's get back to the questions. That was a fun diversion. Let's do some more questions. I am a DM with 5 years experience. I play with my brothers in the Forgotten Realms setting. I love your videos, and I was wondering how you run many of the standard factions in Faerun. The Lord's Alliance, the Emerald Enclave, the Black Network, etc. I don't use them a whole lot, in all honesty. When I do use them, it might be a run-in with the players or something, and they might come across them. Sometimes I have asked the players to choose an alliance they can be affiliated with, and I try to work that into the gameplay somehow. In all honesty, I just don't use factions a whole lot in my games. Not the traditional ones. Not the Lord's Alliance, Emerald Enclave, Black Network, and stuff like that. In Sword Coast Guard, I did have a faction system I was using, and I did track that stuff. I think I've been doing that in one of my Ancient Dragon game, but I think I forget a lot too. I forget a lot too. But I usually don't use the traditional ones. But I have my own factions or different groups that have different interests in the game. And then based upon what adventures the characters do and what they do in the game world, they will influence the favor standing they have with certain factions. And that will get them certain in-game benefits based upon that. Not big, huge benefits, but little tiny things here and there. So that's kind of what I do, but it's not, I don't really use the standard factions a whole lot in Faerun, in all honesty. I'm DMing a game and we just finished the second session of the second chapter. I have hit a spate of writer's block. Do you have a recommendation of how to work through writer's block? I know how I want to end the chapter and I knew how the chapter was going to start, but I don't know what I'm doing for the middle bit. So the talk of chapters makes me think of like writing a story or something. So we're going to assume that you're not writing a story, but you're using that language to reference the adventures that you're planning. So you have some of the beginning adventures, you know what's going to happen, you know what the adventure will be. The end adventure, you know what that is, what the situation is going to be, but you need help with like the middle stuff and how to get over writer's block. I don't really have a simple answer for you. I can tell you things that I do. I pop open one of the monster manuals or Tome of Beasts and I start looking at monsters and I use those to inspire me. That's my typical thing that I do when I'm not sure how to do stuff. I'll also do some brainstorming as part of like campaign planning, which involves like a mind map. I have a video on my channel called Campaign Planning, part 1 and part 2. That have lots of good information in them. The first one is the theory video, and the second video is an example of campaign planning. I think some of that information in there would be helpful for you. It sounds like you have parts of your campaign, you know what you're going to do and what the adventures will be, but there's a middle part where you're not sure what the adventures might be. Some of the information that I have in those videos, the campaign planning ones, might help you flesh out and think through that process a little bit. At the end of the day though, specifically writer's block, I just, monster manuals inspire me. That's what gets me excited about the game. Cool monsters and how I might use them. And then I start thinking about, okay, here's a really cool monster. I want to use this monster. How am I going to use it? What's the adventure going to be? What's the objective going to be? What's the plot hook going to be? And what other monsters might be there? And that just gets my juices flowing. But that's just what I use personally. It might not work for you. It might not work for you at all. You might look to video games. You might think about cool video games you've played and adventures that have happened in the video games and be like, huh, I liked this one. Maybe I could just do something similar to this, only put a spin on it and spice it up a little bit. Maybe that inspires you and gets you going. Sometimes tricks to get over writer's block are individual to the person, but I will say this. Sometimes you just need to start. You just need to start writing. You need to start doing the thing that you don't feel inspired to do. You have to start. And I think it is a myth, and it is erroneous to think that you should only write, or you should only design an adventure, or you should only do X thing when you are inspired to do so. Inspiration is a myth of folks who don't get things done. Folks who don't get things done, they think that they need to be inspired to do X thing. The secret of people who are successful is they do the thing whether they feel like it or not. I know what needs to happen for me to be successful in X thing. Therefore, I do those things, whether I want to or not, whether I feel inspired or not, whether I feel like, oh, this is kind of crappy, it's not my best work. Whoa, Big bug. What was that, dude? You just got to do the thing, whether you feel like it or not, whether you feel inspired or not, whether you feel like you're doing a bad job or a good job. You need to do the thing. If you wait to be inspired, you wait for writer's block to go away, you might never do that thing. So that's the secret of the successful. You do it whether you want to or not. You plug through. A lot of times, once you take that first step, the second step is easier. And the third step is easier. And then the next one, and the next one. And then you're going, and then you're running. And then it's a lot easier than you thought it was gonna be. And you start to get those feelings and that inspiration as you do the thing. Example from my own life. From the standpoint of my business and everything that I do, probably the thing that I like the least is writing scripts for my videos. So the scripting process before I actually record a video, film a video. I don't like writing scripts. I just don't. So I will always have the mentality of I don't want to do it, and I will try to procrastinate it and put it off and delay it. But here's the thing. Once I open up the template and once I actually start doing it, it gets better and it's not quite so bad. And then I'm going, and then it's almost done. And then I'm an hour and a half into it and I'm almost there. I just need to do the skit and then I'm done. And then it's over. Once I took that first step, I opened up the document and started writing and started doing the script. It wasn't that bad. And then the pace picked up, and then the next thing I knew, it was over. And hey, that worked pretty well. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was be. I was creating a mental obstacle in my own brain that was impeding me from doing the thing that I know needed to get done for me to be successful in my ventures. And so that's an example from my own life, but this is just this is probably like a life thing. You know what I mean? It can apply to being a game master, writing your adventure, planning out your campaign. It could apply to anything you want to do in your life. Taking that first step is so super important. People who don't accomplish things many times are people who don't take the first step for whatever reason, for fear, for lack of confidence, because they don't feel inspired, etc., etc., etc. The excuses are infinite. People who are successful are always people who take the first step. Now, taking the first step doesn't guarantee success, but it is required for success. I have a cat right under my feet and I'm moving around, and sometimes I give him a little jostle. And I'm like, why are you underneath my feet, Squeaky? All right, we're gonna hit that one right there. Having a little bit of alcohol, just a bit, can help you get over that hesitation. Wait, who are we talking to, Ed? Ed is saying you guys are awesome. Who are you talking about, Ed? Nothing is more intimidating than a blank page. Yep. Ed. Don't ignore me, Ed. Oh, Royal Rugby, thank you for the 100 bits, dude. I appreciate that. Thanks for encouraging the hobby. You were very welcome, dude. Oh, Max is here. What's up, Max? How you doing, buddy? So Penguin Butt was telling me that all of you guys are coming to LayerCon, right? You're like all four. Is it 4 of you? Are there 4 of you? Yeah, there's 4 of you, right? Wait, are there 4 of you or 5 of you? Math is not my strong suit. That's the plan. Okay, sweet. Yeah, Penguin Butt's your contact for coordinating all that crap and figuring crap out. I know you guys had volunteered to help and stuff, and I'm very appreciative of that. But she is like my. She's not a man. She's my woman in charge. She's my right hand person. Kind of coordinating a lot of that stuff. So yeah. Yes, Penguin Butt is awesome. I agree. That's why I do like special dances on stream. Oh, look at this. Squirty pie.
I found the carrot. I'm gonna play with the carrot now. Yeah.
Look at her. Look at her. She's just loving it. Getting all tripped out on the catnip. There's mommy cat. Here's mommy cat. Oh, little guy. There's little guy. They're like, oh yeah, we found the catnip. Oh, giddy up. This is nice. This is nice. Oh, by the way, you're all amazing and nice and very lovely people. Yes, I agree. Yeah, it'll be fun. LayerCon will be so much fun, you guys. It'll be totally fun. Yes, so Peak D&D is the YouTube channel. Moderator, one of you drop a link in there for folks so they can go check their YouTube channel out and know what we're talking about. But they have a YouTube channel, Peak D&D, and they are doing a playthrough of Into the Fae, the module I did. And so you guys can go watch them play through my module. I was watching one of your guys' videos 2 days ago. Which video was it? Let me go into my YouTube history. I'll tell you which video it was. There were two of you that were you were talking in it. Let me see which video it was. It's from a couple days ago. I forget the name of it. I probably can find it pretty quickly here. Priorities in Dungeons and Dragons, life advice in D&D. So I was watching that video. I think you and the other dude, who's the other dude, were doing that video, and you were giving examples from Into the Fae, from the Mean Den, one of the adventures in it, and I was laughing my butt off as like the dungeon. You guys were describing different things in it and different things that happened in your group and stuff, and how large and difficult that adventure was. I thought that was hilarious. That dungeon is brutal. Yes, I know. Here, you guys. Here's an important point, Max. You guys got the very first draft of the module before we incorporated a lot of feedback from the playtest. So it's possible that we toned things down a little bit with the playtest feedback for the final version. I just don't remember all the details. So maybe not. Maybe it'll still be brutal, but it was definitely long. It was definitely long. I'll also say too, well, I probably shouldn't say that because that might be a spoiler. I don't want to step on your DM's toes. But you guys have a cool DM. I'll give you that. You almost TPK'd your players in that dungeon? Yeah. All right, let's get some more questions going on here. Me and a group of friends love D&D, much to do with Critical Role. I watched all episodes, which lead me to search about D&D and you. I never played a game, nor we have a DM. Should one of us try and DM a game? Yes. Is it viable to try and DM without any experience? Yes. Hundreds and thousands of people become dungeon masters every year, I guarantee you, without ever having been a game master before in their lives. Are they the best game masters in the world? Of course not. But you know what? I bet they and their groups have tons of fun. So if you and your friends want to give it a shot, here's the beautiful thing. Here's the beautiful thing. If you've never done it before and they've never played D&D before, whoever's the dungeon master, your players, they have nothing to compare you to. You know, they have nothing. Who are they going to compare the dungeon master to when they've never played the game before? They've never had a good dungeon master to compare the bad dungeon master to. You're their first dungeon master. They're probably going to have fun. It's going to be really awesome. Even if 10 years from now, you look back on that game and you're just like, wow, that was a train wreck. Of course, the common thing would be, well, what if they compare you to Critical Role? What if they compare you to all of these pro dungeon masters and stuff? Well, then I would say that they're kind of foolish and they have unrealistic expectations, because that's That is a very unintelligent, unwise, and foolish comparison to make. To compare someone who's never done it before to a professional D&D show, from someone who's probably an excellent dungeon master and certainly can put on an excellent D&D show. So there's a huge difference, right? That's just a bad comparison to make. So yes, it's viable. Yes, do it. You guys will probably have a blast regardless of your level of experience. Could not encourage you more to just do it. Yes, Ambers, that's perfect. Ambers says, I tell my players, I'm not Matt Mercer and you're not Travis or Laura, so we're even. That is the perfect rebuttal. That is the perfect rebuttal. Oh, wow. That is perfect. If a game master is ever criticized for not being as good as ex-pro DM like Mercer or somebody, the perfect rebuttal is, well, you know what? You're not Travis Wilhelm or whatever, and nor are you Laura Bailey. So yeah, we're pretty much even in that department, wouldn't you say? And then just watch them be like, slack-jawed. Never thought about that. That was a good one, Mr. Game Master. Thank you, sir. Yeah, if you compare me to Matt Mercer, I'm going to compare you to the rest of the cast. Exactly. Expecting your D&D game to be like Critical Role is expecting driving to be like Fast and Furious. Yes. Wow, are we getting some deleted messages? Calm down, folks. Be nice. Little guy is going crazy on the happy carrot. Check this out. Little guy likes, oh yeah, that's the carrot. That's the happy carrot. He's like, I'm gonna kill it. I'm just gonna kill this thing real quick. I gotta chew it. Come here, carrot. He's got that carrot. Go off in a big tandem on anything that comes up. I'll keep that in mind. If something comes up, I'll go for it. Now he's going in the box. What do you think you're gonna find in the box? There's nothing in there. That is your boy, Ed. I'm gonna smuggle him into LairCon for you. I'm designing a one-shot for new players. I'm fairly new too. Should I make them start at a higher, such as 3 or 5 level, so they don't think they're going to be so squishy forever? And also there are a few monsters I can use with level 1 characters. Absolutely. If you're kind of new and they're new and it's a one-shot game, absolutely start them out at level 3 or 5. That is a perfect way to introduce them to the game and run a one-shot. And it gives you more monsters to choose from, more variety, more cool things you can do, and you don't got to worry about how squishy they are. That is a very, very good strategy. DM Lair approved. Not that you need my approval. All right, well, there's nothing on that screen anymore. I asked about 7 of my friends and only 2 others showed interest to play D&D, I presume. I'm not sure starting with just 3 of us would be good. That's not a horrible number, dude. It really isn't. Is there any online sources that we can join a group? Don't play online. Don't play online. No. Let me tell you something. Come here. Come in close. Playing in person is easily 5 times more fun than playing online. You gotta trust me. I've done both. I've been a player in both. I've been a game master in both. In-person games are easily 5 times more fun than online games. Gotta trust me on that. So my recommendation to you is whenever you can play in person, obviously we got the pandemic crap going on, so consider safety, obviously. But whenever you can play in person, it is infinitely more preferable, in my opinion, than playing online. So if you can play in person and you have that option, play in person. So you got 3 friends, you got you and 3 friends. That's not a bad number. That's okay. That's okay. That's not a bad number. Would 4 be better? Maybe, but don't worry about it, dude. One of you is the dungeon master, 3 other people are the players. You'll be just fine. Be just fine. If somebody feels so inclined, they could run 2 characters maybe, if they feel like it. Or maybe there's a hireling they can go out and get to help them or something, and then they run that stat block or something. There are ways. I actually have videos coming out on my channel. That I have 2 videos coming out. One is tips and advice for running D&D for large groups, and then another one that's coming out in the future in about a couple months, sorry, is tips and advice for running D&D for small groups. So I do have a video coming out in the future that's going to give you some more details on how you would go about doing that. But definitely would encourage you, just play with your friends in person. Way better than online games. Much better. Yeah. So that is my recommendation for you. I avoid online games. When I can play in person, I want to play in person. It's much more fun. I got that one. How would you deal with a party of new players entering a way too overpowered lair on purpose with 500 plus bandits? Is it naive to hope they sneak or other creative solutions and don't assault all of them feasting in the Great Hall? You don't deal with those players at all. You don't do anything. You do nothing. You have presented the situation. They've decided to go into that situation, and you're going to find out what happens. And based upon what they decide to do, you are going to role play your 500 bandits. That is the bed that is being made, and somebody's going to sleep in it. So you don't handle that. That's how you handle the situation. That's what you do. And something very horrible could result. Or something very cool and memorable might result too. Maybe both will happen. Both very horrible for someone and very memorable. You just don't know. So yeah. Okay, so now there is a comment here that says you should answer this one. Okay. All right. How did you get such a great team together that works with you on DM Lair and the streams? How did I do that? Oh, wow. How did I do that? Okay, so let me tell you the process that went into assembling my team that works with me here. Essentially, this is what happened. We needed folks to become moderators for the Discord primarily. It all started out with the Discord. As the Discord grew, we needed more moderators. And so I had a couple people that were my moderators, but we didn't have an entire team. And so I put out, after the Discord was around for a little bit and we were looking for more moderators, I put out a post that basically said, hey guys, I need moderators. If you're interested, leave a reaction. People left reactions. And then this was our process. Literally, I had my existing moderators, and this is still the process we use when we're looking for more moderators, more people to help out. This is still our process. People express interest, and then my moderators or somebody that I entrust with this will go through and take a look at the people who were interested in that, whatever it was, and they will look at their past history on our Discord. And they are evaluating for 2 things. They're evaluating for engagement with the community. How active are they? Are they around all the time? Are they talking with people? Are they engaging? That sort of thing. Or do they want to be a moderator but never talk to anybody at all? That would be a negative indicator. But if they're engaging with people, talking a lot, and they're present a lot, that's a positive indicator. The second thing that you're looking for, that we look for, is how positive are they in the community? Are they a positive force? Are they helping people? Are they friendly with people? Are they respectful with people? Are they treating people in a good, positive way? Are they encouraging to people? Are they making the environment a better place for everyone? So those are the two things. See who's interested, and then how active are they, and how well are they contributing? How good of a person are they literally being through their actions? Are they being friendly and helpful, or are they putting people down and being jerkwads? So we go through and we say, you know what, we need about 5 new mods or 5 new people, and we ask people and we go through that process. That's it. And then my moderators will be like, Luke, this is a recommendation. We recommend these 5 people. We've evaluated them. We've taken a look at what they're doing, and they seem to be really cool people. They've been members for a while. They're active. They're helping people. They seem like really cool people. And then those people get invited to be moderators. And it has worked out really well, really well so far. I think we've only had one person really that has turned out to be problematic and is no longer part of the team. But for the most part, it's done really well. So yeah, that's it. That's been most of the process. And then once you get, then once the moderators in Discord were assembled and I started doing live streams, the moderators there just became moderators here, you know? And then when I needed help, like I do have people on my team that get paid too. And so when I needed help with certain things, I kind of knew who different people were and stuff. And some people, for instance, Penguin Butt, I remember Penguin Butt, this was probably like over a year ago or something. I think we were in like a patron hangout or something. And you said something like, yeah, Luke, if you ever need any help with anything, I'm happy to help. And then later on, I was like, and I think Danny was the same way or something, not in the same context, but she was also volunteering to help too. And so I was like, okay, that kind of stuck. And then I got to the point with my business and what I was doing for D&D and different stuff that I needed somebody that I could pay to do things for me because I had way more stuff that needed doing than I alone could do. And so I was like, okay, I need to pay somebody to help me. And then, you know, Danny, Penguin Butt and stuff. And then, you know, now, of course, now we have Zack, 𝐑𝐂𝐊𝐄 is one of our main content creators for Lair Magazine, like writing adventures and different things. He's a huge contributor. We have Ed, who is like, he is the SRD game balance guru, especially with like monster stat blocks and stuff. He is so good on so many different things there. So he works with our things as well, reviewing the content for the magazine and stuff. Penguin Butt does a lot of the, I would call it project management side of things, which is an extremely challenge. Anybody who's a project manager, it's hard. So she does a lot of good work there. And then everybody in the moderating team is present on Discord, helping with the community there, engaging with people, helping them, making them feel welcome, making sure it remains a positive place. That's one of the things I love about the community we build, is that it's positive and it's helpful. We don't tolerate people who put people down, you know, they just don't last very long. They get booped really quickly. So yeah, so that's part of that answer to that question. Of how did I get such a great team? So there was a process involved, you know, of filling people out and stuff like that. It's also, I also think there was some excellent good fortune involved, just amazing good fortune, you know, of those people being available and then, you know, becoming part of the team. So I think there was definitely some blessing involved there and having great team members on the team, you know. Yeah, but that's it. That's pretty much how that worked. So it's good. Editing is a breeze compared to project management. Yep. I give Penguin Butt more stuff like every day. Every day you wake up and you're like, you have Trello notifications. Luke gave you more assignments. Shadow of a leader, Luke? What does that mean, Eric? I'm not familiar with that expression. Are you decent human beings and helpful toward the community? Yeah. Zack is like, I'm always available for more stuff too. Oh, Zack, with the Kickstarter coming up, with the next Kickstarter, we're gonna have some work to get done. Yeah, especially with rewriting some of our content. That's gonna be a thing. Yeah. All right, yeah, I think we're about ready done. Oh, your team follows your lead. Oh, okay, I got you, Eric. Yeah, I mean, I try to be a good example. You know, I try to be a force of positivity and all that kind of stuff. I think we're gonna raid somebody and wrap this bad boy up. The next Kickstarter has not been announced officially yet. It's essentially going to be a way to get Lair magazine as a print version. That's the essence of what it is. Right now, it's only offered as a digital product. So the next Kickstarter will be able to get it as a print version of the stuff that many people already have as a digital product. So that's what the Kickstarter will be. So yeah, but there will be, yeah, we'll definitely be rewriting some of our adventures for it, Zack, and I will be leaning on you for that if you're okay with that, because you're awesome at that. Okay, let's raid somebody and get out of here, shall we? I'm gonna go now. All right, I need to go to Twitch and we're gonna see who's streaming, and then we're gonna raid somebody. Browse. Let's see who's on here. Oh, I'm on. I can raid myself. I always talk about raiding myself. But I never actually do. I don't think it'd work anyway. Oh, let's see. Surviving the hedge maze. Ooh. Looking for something that jumps out at me. See any good ones? What's it? Workers Union of Baldur's Gate. Are you doing Rime of the Frost Maiden? I always never know who to raid. Like, I'm gonna find somebody. Oh, we have purple hair. Kentucky Fried Dice. It's red hair. Yeah, it's like a streamer thing. It's like you're not a streamer unless you have colored hair. Okay, here we go. This is who we're gonna raid. I have no idea who these folks are. Oh, I see a massive beard. That's always a positive indicator. Okay, Christian Alice or something. We're gonna raid those people. They have like 4 viewers. This is gonna be awesome. All right, let me get that set up. Luke's not a streamer. No, I don't have colored hair. Yeah, this is my natural hair color. I'm a failure as a streamer. You have not arrived as a streamer unless you color your hair like blue or something. Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm getting this set up.